All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Market Close. It is Tuesday, January 14th, 3:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I thought this episode was going to be different. That's all I can say. Literally 45 minutes ago, I was getting a haircut. And I didn't realize that me getting a haircut meant that the market decided to twin with me and get a haircut as well. I didn't think that was going to happen. I was off my phone for 30 minutes during this haircut. Okay. And it's really hard for me to be off my phone for 30 minutes. Like really hard. There was one point where I tried to check my phone and I know the barber was getting annoyed. And so I put my phone away. I am not off my phone for more than 30 minutes. The first notification I get when I check my phone is Robinhood is up 10%. And I'm like, oh shit, this is going to be great. This is going to be a fun market close. Robinhood's up 10%. Within 30 minutes of coming back home from the haircut, I don't want to say the market tanks, but pretty much all the gains we had in some sectors of the market definitely go away. Now, Robinhood is still up 6% on the day, which is nice, but it was up, 10%. It is what it is. S&P 500 recovering a little bit to 580, still down 0.16%. It was at almost 587 today. NVDA down 2%, AMD down 2%, Meta down 3%, Tesla. Like this thing was 422 in the morning and now it's a freaking 395. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, I guess the PPI pump, which for those that are just joining, PPI was amazing. Pound at 65.55. We increased 0% on the monthly and 0.2% on the yearly, beat expectations. That's a good reason for the market to go up. Okay, PPI is coming down, maybe CPI is coming down. We don't have to be too worried about the 10-year, the dollar, etc. But the problem is, and for those that voted yes on the poll this morning when I said, is it a bull trap? At least intraday, for now, you might be right because this was the clear sign. The 10-year didn't budge today, even with PPI coming down. And unfortunately, I know how annoying it is to keep paying attention to all this macro stuff, but it's true. If the 10-year is not budging, even with a good PPI, and the dollar, which is down, but it's not down substantially enough, I think, for the markets to get excited. It's not at 110, it's at 109.2, but still it's up there. That is leading to not only myself getting a fade, but the market getting faded as well. So, I mean, this is what we got. I thought it would be a little bit more fun getting into the market close, given how stocks are rallying, but that is not the case. Now, here's the question. Did CPI leak? I mean, if we're going to assume PPI leaked, then we got to assume CPI leaked. The problem is it's nuanced because this is the two sort of situations we're in. If CPI leaked and it's bad, and that's why the market's selling off, tomorrow could be bad when we actually get CPI numbers, or it could be priced in, therefore tomorrow's not that bad, right? So that's one situation in terms of CPI getting leaked. The other situation is historically, if you guys follow market action on CPI and you remember how the market operates, a good CPI tends to get a market dump almost every time, bro. Maybe there's like one or two expectations, but a good CPI tends to get a market dump. I remember October CPI came in at 2.5%. I mean, we're literally 50 basis points away from 2% inflation, which was the Fed's target, and we still dumped in October. And then we recovered intraday. So maybe the CPI leaked and we're dumping, and that's a good thing because that's what always happens. And then we get the recovery, or maybe CPI leaked. It's actually way harder than expected. And that's bad because if CPI is way harder than expected, that means the 10-year is not going down. That means the dollar is probably not going down. That means inflation's here for longer. And we're stuck in this rat race of trying to figure out how do we get inflation to come down. I guess we're going to have to see how this ends up playing out. Here are CPI expectations from all the big banks. As you can see, headline CPI, pretty much all of them think 2.9% is what we're going to get. UBS thinks 3%. And that's pretty much it. That thinks 3%. Everybody else thinks 2.9%. Bank of America thinks 2.8%. Moody's thinks 2.8%. And then on core, they all think we're probably going to be at 0.26%. Tom Lee says we need to be below 0.25. And so if all the banks think we're going to be a little bit above that and a little bit above on the headline, that could be a reason for why the market is currently selling off right now. So there you go. You look, after my haircut, bro, I thought this was going to be fun. Robinhood was up 10%. Tesla was at 410. I was like, all right, this is going to be great. And then I get home and like within 10 minutes, I'm like, wait a second, Robinhood's not up 10% anymore. What's happening? And so we got a little bit of a dump. Now, having said that, it's 350. And at 350 yesterday, all of you guys remember, we reversed hardcore. Tesla went from like 390 to 403. So we got 10 minutes. Maybe in this 10 minutes, we get a little bit of action. Maybe not, but we're going to see what happens. Quantum. Okay, let's talk about Quantum real quick. So interestingly enough, Quantum is up right now. Why is Quantum up? Rigetti, 43%. QUBT up 12%. IONQ up 6%. D-Wave up 21%. We got to be a little bit fair to the Quantum names, because if we've been covering when they've been falling, then we have to cover when they rebound. Why are they rebounding? I think it is based on two things. Number one, either the dip buyers were going to buy this dip or not buy this dip, right? Like when you're down 70%, someone has to come in and buy, and it seems like that's happening. Number two, Micro freaking Soft comes out with an article today, and let me just start reading from it. We find ourselves in an exciting and pivotal time. We are at the advent of the reliable quantum computing era, and we are right on the cusp of seeing quantum computers solve meaningful problems and capture new business value. Key words, right on the cusp. Is that 15 years away? Is that 20 years away? Or is that 15 to 20 months away? As we look towards the next 12 months, the pace of quantum research and development is only going to accelerate, making this a critical and catalyzing time for business leaders to act. We're seeing a growing need for business leaders to have the information and tools to understand better the depth of these amazing technical breakthroughs and the business applications that value they open up. Essentially, Microsoft, and the title of this article is 2025, the year to become quantum ready. Either Microsoft is just using this as a marketing opportunity because they think there's some hype around quantum and they think they can sell more consulting or more products that can help people understand the quantum revolution better, or like maybe quantum's a thing. And if quantum's a thing, and I think we all think it's a thing, but you know, the debate really is about how far is it? Is it 20 years or 20 months away? Some of these names that have gotten beat up pretty aggressively are getting some love today because maybe it's not that far away. S&P slightly turning green right there. Where is Tesla? Tesla trying to make its way back to 400. So in fairness to quantum, maybe it's not that far away, at least in the eyes of Microsoft. And if that's the case, then maybe those quantum names will continue to catch a bit. Okay, let's hear from Ed Yardeni, get his thoughts on some of the market volatility we're seeing right now. And then Jason will be joining in about 15 minutes, and we will get into Technical Tuesday.
I think the big issue for the stock market is the bond market. And the bond market, we argued back in August of last year, I was discounting too many rate cuts by the Fed. We thought that the economy was going to prove to be resilient and strong, and that turned out to be the case. And here we are, up from 3.65% on September 16th of last year to 4.75% thereabouts now. And so that a lot of that had to do with the better than expected growth of the economy, with the Fed probably going on pause. And we also have some stickiness in the inflation numbers. So I think the markets are going to be focusing on the areas of where inflation seems to be stuck above 2%. And a lot of that is in the so-called super core, which of course is services excluding rent inflation. And in addition to that, we've got energy prices going up here, and it was goods deflation over the past several months that helped to bring inflation down. It wasn't services. So now we've got to be concerned that the next couple of months we may have an inflation scare.
I mean, doesn't the PPI, though, tend to be a better read into the PCE?
Yeah.
Which certainly is a more important gauge on inflation, at least according to what the Fed watches.
Oh, you're absolutely right. It's a very good point. I would say that the month-over-month number was better than expected. But when you look at it year over year, you're still seeing an upward trend in the services area. And so, the best of the inflation news is behind us for the next few months. But again, that's not the only issue for the bond market or the stock market. I think both of them have had to discount the fact that the Fed may very well be at a none and done outlook for the federal funds rate for the rest of the year.
And that is why the 10-year continues to stay as elevated as it is at 4.79%. I mean, we're basically at 4.8%. I mean, look at this thing, dude. We got great PPI data. I mean, I don't think you could get better PPI data than what we got today, given the circumstances, especially with oil running up the way it is, and nothing, not a single budge on this 10-year actually coming down in a meaningful way. It is 3:55. We have 5 minutes until the market closes. It looks like we're not getting the 350 pump we got yesterday. I mean, the S&P is trying to end off green. Tesla still at 397. But still, it's not a bad day for the markets by any means. I mean, like, it was good. It's just, it was really good at 255. And then by 3:15, it ended up not being as good. Now, tomorrow's going to be really important. We have earnings coming up for a lot of the banks. I'll be live early in the morning, and then we'll also have CPI at 8:30. So we got a lot of stuff still happening tomorrow. And if the bank earnings are good and CPI is good, and maybe the market already knows CPI is good, but they're kind of like selling it off right now to create a dump in the morning, and then they buy back in later in the day, which is what tends to happen on CPI. Maybe tomorrow's a really good day for the markets. It's just it was a really good day by 2 p.m. today. I mean, everything was really getting some love. And it kind of flipped quickly, which means I don't know how much data the market already has, but for it to flip that quickly, either the CPI is really good, really bad, or in the middle, and the market's kind of just dealing with it right now until they actually continue to give it more momentum, especially because we did run up pretty quick today, rebounding from yesterday. This piece of news also was something we got from Mr. Donald Trump. He says, for far too long, we have relied on taxing our great people using the Internal Revenue Service, IRS. Through soft and pathetically weak trade agreements, the American economy has delivered growth and prosperity to the world while taxing ourselves. It is time for that to change. I am today announcing that I will create the External Revenue Service, or the ERS, to collect our tariffs, duties, and all revenue that come from foreign sources. We will begin charging those that make money off of us with trade, and they will start paying finally their fair share. January 20th, 2025 will be the birth of the External Revenue Service, aka that's probably going to be a executive order that Trump issues on day one. So, I mean, look, I don't know what the ERS is going to look like. I don't know what it's going to mean. All I know is that love it or hate it, Trump understands marketing. And if people just latch onto the idea that, oh, we're creating this thing that's going to, take the money from other people because we've been paying too much money, it's not like he's getting rid of the IRS. Everyone in the United States still has to pay our taxes. But the marketing around the ERS is, I think, what, he's going for here, and what's people going to try, what's he's going to do to try to get people's attention, and what potentially will get them to be more excited about something like this. On top of that, we got another headline from the Wall Street Journal. Donald Trump is preparing executive orders aimed at boosting American fossil fuels and undoing his predecessor's push in the U.S. to adopt electric vehicles. Couple things I think that'll happen from this. Pretty much everyone knows most of these. Remove regulations for drilling, drill baby drill, eliminate EV tax credits. That means the $7,500 EV tax credit that I use to get my Model Y, that's going to go away. Prioritizing trade agreements and energy security alliances to boost the U.S. oil, coal, and gas exports. That means the Keystone Pipeline's probably going to be back on the table. Biden got rid of it. Trump probably wants to bring it back. He's going to have to work with Canada to get that back, which is maybe why he's bringing up Canada so much. And then expand lease sales and resource extraction on federal lands. Trump has talked about in the past that he wants to find more land we can drill on. Some of the best land is federal land. Right now, we're not really allowed to drill on it. And if Trump changes that, then we potentially might be drilling a lot more to get oil. So there's just a lot of different things that I think the market's trying to price in. Where is Bitcoin? We haven't looked at that for a while, or at least I haven't looked at that for a while. Bitcoin, 96. Not bad. I mean, it's holding 96, which is just a smidge below the 97.2 level it was at earlier today. But I think now the market's getting ready for Donnie to get into office over the next 6 days. And then we're really going to see what direction the market wants to go, how they're going to react to these executive orders, what direction bond yields are going to go. And, the CPI data tomorrow is going to help us understand that as well. But in the next week, we will have a new administration and see what that means for the broader economy. HIMS is having a pump. Let me check HIMS. Eli Lilly got hit today. HIMS up 1% right here. Not bad, from 24 to 26. Eli Lilly still down 7%. So bottomed a little bit at 729. Right now it's 742. We got about 30 seconds till the market closes. But Eli Lilly was one of the losers today. NVDA as well down 1%. AMD down 1%. Meta down 2.4. It looks like TikTok is somehow going to find a way to stay. Or at least that's how the market's acting if they're selling off Meta like this. I don't think there's any other main reasons to sell it off, but that could be the reason. Grab got hit today badly, down 3%, 435. Uber down 1.2%. Amazon 217. Snapchat down 7%, potentially off this TikTok staying news or TikTok getting sold. SOFI did get upgraded to 18, so SOFI's up 3%, but it was almost at $15. Now it's at $14.50. So pretty much everything got a haircut in the past hour, like me, even if it's still ending the day green from yesterday. All right, folks, here we go. We got a long market close. Got a lot of stuff to get to. Tuesday, January 14th, 4 p.m. The stock market is now closed. All right, Tesla ends the day red after going to 422. None of you guys told me it would be this emotional to buy Tesla because I was up a lot of money this morning and now I'm not. And I guess that's the nature of owning Tesla. 396 on Tesla, down 1.72%. Palantir 65.91, up 1.43% on the day. Robinhood, really good day for Hood. We talked about the Morgan Stanley upgrade. The market was very excited about it. Hit a high of 43.77. Pretty incredible. Ending the day at 41.76, up 5.48% on the day. S&P 500 ends green, barely, 582.08. We had Applied Digital that had $5 billion of an investment come in today, up 9.98%. NVDA ended red, down 1%. AMD ended red, down 1%. Meta down about 2.3%. Let's go to the other Mag 7s. Energy infrastructure did have a pretty good day with a lot of those names getting some momentum off the Wall Street Journal headline for Trump getting more bullish on energy. Amazon was down about 30 bips. Google was down about 0.5%. Meta down 2%. Microsoft down 0.3%. And then Tesla right here down 1.72%. Quantum, ironically, had the best day. Rigetti was up 47%. IONQ was up 5%. D-Wave was up 22%. And then QUBT was up 13% as well. They're all down a little bit after hours, but today was a good bounce day for them as they got some momentum. Crypto names, CleanSpark was up 1.5%. Coinbase was up 1.6%. Marathon was up 1%. MicroStrategy was up 4%. Not too bad. We'll get Jason's thoughts today on if he is still thinking of being short MSTR. Ethereum 3,200, Bitcoin 96,437. And then you got BITX 2x leverage Bitcoin 5433. Not too bad for BITX. XRP, correct, was up 4.6%. The reason XRP was up is because there are some rumors circulating today that XRP ETFs and Solana ETFs are expected to bring in close to $20 billion of inflows. Sorry. The total is 16 billion. XRP and Solana would get 8 billion each. So JP Morgan put out a report today saying they think XRP, just like the Bitcoin ETF and Ethereum ETF, will have its own ETF. Solana will have its own ETF, and each of them in 2025 will bring in about $8 billion. Will that happen? Who knows? But if it does happen, that probably is more bullish than not for those asset classes as well. Fartcoin, yeah, let's check on Fartcoin. Fartcoin, outside of Quantum, one of the best performing assets today. I mean, you could have bought Tesla at 422 and been down 2%. You could have bought Fartcoin at the top and only been down 1.4%. So still holding a $1.04 billion market cap on Fartcoin, not really tanking like we saw it tank yesterday. Amit, welcome to the Tesla roller coaster. Dude, it's aggressive. It's like, I knew yesterday buying at 391, it's probably going to go back down. And then it goes up to 422. I'm like, great. I got in at 391. It's at 422. I'm up $300. That's a lot of money in one day. And then we're back to being up like $10. It's just, it is what it is. It is the nature and the beast of volatility that is Tesla. Dogecoin's up a little bit, 3%. Apple is down about 0.5%. Hood, again, 41.76. And then Palantir, which we will have earnings for on February 3rd. Palantir right here, 65.91, 65.95 currently after hours. All right, folks, that's pretty much all the headlines that we had for today. I think we have a couple other ones that we'll talk about as we get throughout the show. But it is Tuesday, which means we have technicals to get to. And ironically, not only did I get a haircut, Jason, I know you're listening to this. When I came back from my haircut, Jason texted me saying he got a haircut. And, well, we're going to see Mr. Jason in a new haircut after we roll the intro.
Roll it, brother. What's up, man? How's it going, dude?
I like it.
No.
I like it.
First of all, we both got the fade, as did the market. But look at this. Look at this. So this is where the hair stops, and like in the like it's gone. Like it's gone. I don't know what they did. I feel like I'm in the military.
Yeah, you got a pretty aggressive fade. I mean, I have one too. But
I mean, dude, what happened? I don't know. I'm like, dude, what the hell? Like, look at this. Like, where did it go? It's gone. It's way up. It's not a complicated haircut, but like, dude.
Is this your regular barber or is this a new guy?
No. So I usually make the appointment or whatever, and then like we're running late, and I'm like, I just gotta get it done, and this is what happens when you go to the new guy. It's all bad. It's all bad. Admit, bring the beard back. You had a beard?
Dude,
Oh,
I had a pretty big beard. I'll show you a picture. Okay, so I don't want to be that guy, but you fixed the microphone in terms of the buzzing sound.
So I ripped it
But
apart.
now you're fading in and out. So I think you just gotta.
No. That's because I'm going back and forth like this.
Okay,
That's
so
threshold.
Okay, so it's really sensitive on that. And
Well,
that's
the
not me saying
threshold-
it. That's not me. There's someone.
Yeah,
look
the
at that.
threshold. That's a setting. I can.
It's not me. Don't get against me,
I know,
chat.
I know, no.
You
That's the
guys.
threshold. I know what that is. I know, but it was this stupid thing that I literally ripped out.
The cloud filter. Yeah.
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 If
All
I
right.
keep the mic, if I keep the mic close, and I mean, I have my.
But
I
see,
have my,
it faded right there, but you didn't move right there. When you said your I mean was like super low.
I know. I know.
Yeah,
I have monitors in right now, so I can hear it.
Okay, well, we're getting better. We're better there, dude. I'm not taking the disrespect, bro. I am being very kind.
Be kind.
Goodness gracious. All right, so dude, let's get into it. I want to start with our 5 names that we get into because we got a lot of questions. I want to talk macro with you as we get into the names, but let's start with Palantir because we have earnings coming up for them.
So let me.
Yeah, dude. See, you faded right there. You faded heavy. Like your voice literally like disappeared.
Yeah, I just moved it.
I don't know if it's just about moving it, but we'll see.
Yeah, what's your threshold set at?
I don't know, but my mic, like even if I move far away, my mic doesn't horribly take away my voice. Yours was like.
I know because you don't have a.
Oh, because just increase your threshold. Then
See that?
Yeah, I don't have that. I don't have.
You don't have that.
I don't have that. No.
So it's a different thing. Okay, share the screen.
Okay, so let's do this just so everyone. If it's really bad, you guys say something in the chat. I'm not saying anything. If you guys really, if it's bad, you guys need to say something, and then Jason will see it. If not, we'll figure it out. All right, let's start. Palantir. Let's get into it.
I'm sorry, I'm still reading. Oh God. Okay, so Palantir. So we said as close to 60 as you can, right? Initially, and we definitely have this like congestion, and you're really just sitting at the 200 or the 50-day simple moving average right now. So let me zoom in a little bit and try to speak monotone so it completely picks it all up. 60 came from here and this little volume shelf right there. So it's getting a little choppy. You're at the 50-day SMA. That's this blue line right here. You know, this is pretty close to a retest as you can get. Truth be told, man, I was short for like 45 minutes on this thing. And I think I made like $50 a contract. And
Yeah, dude, it's bad. It's really bad, dude. It's really bad.
Yeah, I hear it.
I think the way to fix this, let's think on our feet.
No, it's threshold. It's a gate. If I go down more, is it higher?
No, it's lower. So maybe go up more.
Check.
It's not even about you being monotone. It's just.
No, I know. It's a gate, like a threshold. Anyways, I put it to 29.
It's like you're fading in, then you're fading out. You're fading in, then you're fading out. That's the problem, I think.
I know. All right, let me stop moving around. Okay, so fading in and fading out. This is still doing it. I'm trying, guys.
Is there any world where your computer has a mic? Because even if the quality is not as good, if it's consistent, the audio, then or turn off the threshold.
How about this? Check. You might get some hissing. You might get some hissing. Yeah, so I just turned off the noise gate.
Okay, you're good. We're back. We're back, baby.
Am I hissy?
No, yeah. I mean, even if there's a little bit of hiss, it doesn't matter because this is way better.
Okay, cool. I'm good with that. So noise gate off. So this was kind of like that area where like, hey, 60, 61, 40, we got really close and we just tested the top of this. I'll say, this is one of those where like, okay, right about now is where we could. So the market it's just super choppy. We said last time it was trappy. I still think it's a little trappy. It's
To your credit, that was the word of the week. And
Oh, yeah.
we've had many traps since then.
I just hope it's not the word of the month, if that makes sense, because it very well could be. It very well could be. So, what do you do with that, right? So, number one, you make no big decisions, no major decisions, and if you're trading short to medium term, you either sit it out because it's going to be hard, or you take gains very quickly and losses pretty quickly also, and you play with a smaller amount of money, right? Because until we have very clear, clean direction, you're gonna have a lot of head fakes, man, and I mean a lot of head fakes. So Palantir doesn't look horrible, right? Like right here for actually possibly a big bounce, and tomorrow's a big day, right? So we get into CPI. I was thinking the NFP was going to come in weak. It came in strong. We didn't get any revisions. And we're just kind of digesting that. Tomorrow, CPI, that's the market's favorite tool, right? If it comes in and we pop up, here's the thing. Tomorrow could be the biggest bull trap of bull traps. Today could be another bear trap, right? So if we pop up crazy, and so this is what I'm saying, Palantir is going to be a perfect example of this. If Palantir pops up like into the 70s, let's say mid 70s, and even it gets in right in here, this is where a lot of charts are. That's where the bears are going to be waiting now, right? So anybody, and this is how you kind of have to look at this, anybody that's like up here that might have been a short-term trader could be waiting for exit liquidity in the mid 70s. So as an example, if we get a big pop, it doesn't mean that it's going to drop like crazy, we'll talk about your Tesla trade here in a little bit, because we had that whole thing like lined up both directions. It could get a little fade, but it'll pull back. And this pullback, if that pullback locks a higher low, that though is probably a better entry point. Does this make sense? I would be happier buying a move like this after a pop up, pull down, big one. This would be like, oh, you're up 10% one day, you're down 10% the next day. You're like, what the hell happened? And then if you hold this level, so what I would say for this is call it 68. So if Palantir, and this is going to be true regardless, if Palantir started to close over $68, we're back into some positive momentum, but it puts it into a bit of a congestion pattern, right? And so if I were to play this forward, and the chart's not here yet, but here's how it's going to look. Now you might be able to see a little bit of a different view after I just added this one line, right? So if I add this one line, you'll see where 75, give or take, becomes an area of congestion. At least there's a lot of overhead supply, and I would expect it to take a little pullback literally right there. And then if it pulls back down and holds over 68, then we could be out of the weeds. And this, if you connect this high from December 24th, Christmas Eve, and January 6th, NFP, where's the NFP? January 6th high, connect these two highs. Essentially, this is a consolidation or it's a potential downtrend that's forming. So for Palantir to actually be out of the woods, it's got to be beyond this. And no matter how you slice it on Palantir, this is going to take time. So to my earlier point, don't expect to be like, boom, V recovery necessarily, because it would be healthier for Palantir to actually consolidate inside underneath 75, but above, let's call it 68,
right,
for a little while, and then kind of go sideways, because this might even play out like this here, and you might get another like test and eventually go higher. That would actually be the best way for Palantir to start trading. But this whole situation, this could take you to February. So it might not be this month. Does it make sense? Chat.
That makes a lot of sense. And so do you think the current price action basically holding above 65 is bullish?
It's neutral. So it doesn't have to be bullish or bearish, right? It's short-term bullish, but long-term neutral. So short-term bullish in terms of we could see a pop right into that 75, but if you were long Tesla at 388 yesterday, we would have told you to go long to 415, give or take. That was actually my target. We got to 420. And you're going to run into this overhead supply, which needs to be a sell. So you need to take some profits. If you're a short or medium-term trader. If you're long-term investing, it's a whole different deal. You do what you want, right? And you just accumulate shares. But yeah, this is the setup, right? So if you do get a bounce on Palantir, it can be aggressive. It could be even like this aggressive. It's possible. Even still, all of that, still take a little trim, near dated, maybe sell some very short-term calls, because you might get a little pullback and then potentially you can get a little bounce. But any way you slice it, connect these two highs, you will see a new kind of like prevailing downtrend. And essentially, if I were to draw this, like stocks take a while sometimes. Just because it's consolidation, it can go like this before it eventually goes like that, right? So
Right.
that said, this whole area, this is $60, still becomes the best spot to actually hold. But if it doesn't, that's okay, right? Because you still need what's going to happen is you have to establish the bottom end of whatever this downtrend is. So even if I come back way down here and put that up here, now you see it's like, okay, this could actually be like a really wonky consolidation, right? So you want to be really cautious, because this could come to a crazy head.
That's fair. And I think going into earnings, the biggest catalyst will be that growth guidance that they put out as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm looking at Palantir. I'm like, if I saw $60 or even sub 60 for a minute, I might personally think about selling some puts potentially. But it's not necessarily one where I would think about buying calls in that case, because I think it would be done going down. But what I'd like to see is some kind of sideways price action at some point like that, right? Which means that if I bought calls here and I have to wait 3 or 4 weeks for it to actually make a move, it might not be good. So depending on volatility, depending on the pricing of options, we could take a look at earnings stuff when we get a little closer. And there might be some good juice that we can squeeze out of those.
Okay. Can we do the latest
We're gonna
company
do
that I've
Tesla.
become a shareholder of?
Congrats.
The volatility here is pretty damn aggressive. What the hell is going on with Tesla?
Dude, really? You're surprised at this one? Dude, you're come from Palantir, right? Like, come on,
Well, the
man.
Palantir just went up last year. That's all it did, dude. It's like
Right. So it's very much the same thing. If you were watching our weekly trade plan yesterday, these things are. If you're watching our weekly trade plan, I think we're good on audio, right? I don't need to do anything.
Oh, you're perfect. You're perfect. You're good.
Okay. So this 390-ish level is like the first area of, okay, we can see some people starting to show up, right? This, I'm going to move this forward just a little bit till I think it was Monday. All right. So Monday morning, we were looking at this, and I actually had this as in Monday morning when we had this candle here. It was like, okay, now you can actually expect to have a pop, right? So you have this kind of downtrend, just like this, another one of these, right? But just like how this was a pop that could get shorted into, you needed to be really careful, because over here, you had the same situation. You have sellers, or basically like liquidity up here, people that went long at the absolute highs, that it ends up being a short, even though this is a $40 or $30 move from 430 up to 460. That's basically exactly what we're looking at. But in this scenario, we're looking at this block here of see where they were buying all here. So this becomes your overhead supply, right? So resistance, if you will. You follow like support, resistance. So you're buying at this 390 is not a super strong support. Remember, to me, stronger support is in the 350s. I still will say that. I think that's an area where I have a lot more confidence, but knowing that this setup was here, we could have seen, we saw, or we had the ability to see a move on Tesla just like this. See this? It's even on, this is a 30-minute chart now. So you can see all this little stuff. You know that there's some very near-term technical traders that would have been like, oh, if we see this, you're going to get a little bit of a pop. And where would that pop take you? I had 315, which was really just going to be from here into this area, 415, sorry, right here to that line. So that's where I saw it going. And it could have potentially gotten, to me, it was like 420, give or take. And that's what happened. But the whole time that we played this out is like, look, this could be target acquired if you get there. I didn't think it was going to get there like in a couple hours. That was crazy. But you get here, and I think that's exactly what happens. So you run into this overhead supply.
Wait,
like,
explain that. What do you mean by overhead supply?
So anybody that was buying here, so this is what you're dealing with. Basically, people that in the first scenario, remember, people are still trying to true up their portfolios, figure out how they want to be positioned. So if they bought at the highs and they have an opportunity, like they don't think that they got a good price here, or they think they'll get a better price later, if it gives them an opportunity to exit and then re-enter again later, then they're going to probably take it. And that's what happened right here. So when we looked at this pop on Tesla off that 390 level, it was the same scenario. You have on a I'm using a 30-minute chart, and I like to use a 30-minute chart a lot because I can see this very clear to me. So you see this type of price action where like they're kind of stepping in here, right? Like right there. You see them step in again. You see them step in again here. So this price action to me is like clearly someone buying. But the thing about that is like at 390, whoever was buying here is now underwater, right? So they have to think, do I want to, was that a good entry or was it not a good entry? Right here, this is where this was support, so prior support. Here, it actually started to become resistance. So we saw this situation here initially where it was like a little bit lower, and they actually exited stage left. So this seller, which was from this area here, this is from like early December. Whoever was buying in early December, there's a seller that started to exit right around 410. They got an opportunity up here. They probably waited, but they ended up taking it the very next day. Again, exit liquidity for them.
So overhead supply is the bag holders, is your point?
Overhead supply is like the late entries who think they could get a better price lower. They're sellers, short sellers.
Okay. Gotcha.
So like you could be shorting the stock, but honestly, it's not like they're shorting this. I don't think that they're shorting the stock necessarily here, but it's more like people are selling their positions, their longs.
So at 422 this morning, you think the reason it then took a dip was because it ran into the overhead supply. That's your point.
I mean, sure. We can say I think that, but it's what's true.
Okay. So you're saying objectively that's how it technically played out.
Yes. that is what happened. You ran into sellers at 422 today, right? And they may. So what you have to have happen is eventually you have to have these levels. So right now your buyers are here at this 390 level, right? So this is where the buyers are, and you can see that pretty clean right here. So they're stepping in. Some buyer or buyers, who knows if it's more than one, we don't know. But market participants, some market participants are stepping in this area. I could actually make this a bit bigger of a box. Let's say we could do down to here, right? This is potentially down to 388, but this is where this is where someone is buying, right? You can see they started buying over here. This is this area from these lows, and they're definitely stepping in here. But whoever's buying down here, here's what's also true. Whoever's buying down here is not stepping up and buying again up here, right? Because if they were, then we would have seen at least this 415 area hold. And so where we are, you're trapped in between. This white line is the 20-day simple moving average, and that blue line below is a 50-day simple moving average here. And so the 50-day is clearly, it's sloping up. 20 days trying to slope down. The distance between them is starting to like condense. So remember, the distance is shrinking. We're in some kind of a consolidation phase. And at this point, like when you see, okay, we're in consolidation, this is starting to, you can have it become a little bit clearer all of a sudden. You start to see this. So right here, right now, you kind of want to see them step in, because if they fold, if these people that were buying here around 380s, mid 380s, if they fold, then you're probably going to see that sub 360 retest in this area.
Right.
Which you, sir, sold some 375 puts, I believe, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
For, was it February?
131. So right after earnings.
131. Okay. But you pulled in what, like $1,500 or something like that?
About
$2,000. More than that.
No, $1,500 off 37,000 in collateral. I only sold one. I only sold one put.
Okay, so you pulled $1,500. So that would put your net cost basis at 360.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which you would probably be a buyer. I would probably be a buyer there anyways. Yeah, so in your situation, I would be totally, like Switzerland on this whole situation. We're like, it's probably better to go sideways for a while. And then if I do see sub 360, I would probably I'll probably end up buying some shares sub 3. If I see like 350s or lower, I'll probably pick something up. And then I might, in addition, as optionality to get longer, I might actually buy more, or sell some puts while I'm buying shares, if that makes sense. There's one little hiccup I would note, is that there's a clean session gap from November 18th. Don't know that this, just because there's a gap doesn't mean it has to fill, but there is a legitimate session gap where there was no trade between 320 and what is that? 327. So there's a inefficiency or deficiency, if you will, in the market, literally right here, that sometimes if something really weird happens, you might get a quick flush. I don't think this is going any lower than this to me. But that would be where I would be like, okay, I'm going to sell, I don't care, like a bunch of stuff except for my hood, and I'll probably just get heavy with you. But in this area, generally speaking, I mean, this, by the way, this could happen in the pre-market or it would be like a flash. Like you wouldn't even, if you weren't trading that day, you probably wouldn't even notice it. But I have a lot more confluence in this area than I do up here. For now, though, this is kind of like your consolidation area, and this level here is super important, right? So this is like 390. Give or take, and see, like on the right hand side of my screen where it really peaks out right here, that's important, right? So this level needs to hold. If it doesn't, it's going to be a quick whoosh, and you might have an opportunity to pick up a little bit lower.
Okay, I think that's fair.
It's like, damn, I thought I had it.
Like, if we get it at 375, we get it at 375. It is what it is.
Yeah. But you're not fully positioned anyways, because you need at least 1,000 shares, I'm pretty sure.
100%. 100%. We got it. We're 10 shares.
So Amit's in 1/100th of position right now.
Actually, 11 shares. I have a physical share too. So.
Oh, nice. There you go.
All right. Can we do NVIDIA? Because since we talked, NVIDIA went to 153, and now it's at 130, and we've had a lot happen since then.
Yeah. So this was kind of like, I think this is what we were talking about. Was this us? This has got to be us from some time ago. Sorry, sometimes I just have our drawings and I don't.
If it's at 123, it's definitely us.
No. It was earlier from this consolidation area. So we're here right now in the bottom of this box. So remember this box, I'm going to zoom out just a little bit and take us to this moment in time. So I don't know if you guys remember NVIDIA in this big consolidation. So this consolidation was a big one, right? And we were talking about this whole situation. And this was like a key area to finally get over after we had broken up, right? And so now if I pull this, do you guys see this? I know my moving averages are getting really tight in the screen, so it's a little funky to see. So now if I pull that over, this is interesting. So this still remains right now, the local lows at 127 down in here. And I still think, hey, look, so tomorrow after CPI, then what do we have? Then we have inauguration, and then earnings season kicks off, and then we have FOMC midweek. So I'm a buyer here on this retest.
130 at 130.
Yeah, literally today. Because I said the other day, like we were looking at the option chains, we had those crazy strikes that were way out there. And that was like right off of this level. I think it was right here. And I was like, I got greedy because I didn't take them. I mean, fair enough, I didn't take them. But today, off these lows and this retest of this is the box, right? I'm literally looking at this right here. I think this becomes that key area for now. And I do know that, hey, you know, my downside to me is that 120 area. So at this point, like I can look at this and say, all right, well, is this kind of like, I know my risk pretty well, if that makes sense. So if I know my risk is, you know, $10 or whatever to the downside right in here, I'm okay. But I know that like 127, this box, like I have a decent amount of confluence. So whoever sold, so the people that sold right in here, and it's the same exercise as before. We're like, they sold, right? But then they became buyers over here. And then they became buyers over here. So do I think that they're going to continue to accumulate here? I think so. At least that's the bet. That's the actual bet. And I know that we're not completely out of the woods yet because this is still, again, this is more consolidation. You can take this however you want to see it. I guess this is like way over here. What is this yellow line? Oh, that's too steep to be anything. This is I would see it as this is where they would want to jump up and we'd retest essentially this whole kind of area. But this 120s would actually be that's the downside if this area doesn't hold. But it's pretty tight risk reward because this becomes your stop. 127.
Right
in here. So taking it long here at like 130, I'm risking $3 ideally. I mean, assuming that we don't have like a crazy gap down and I can't exit, which is possible. But it's very much about this box right here and how the buyers and sellers will react from this area. And are still reacting. So I'm betting I'd be making a bet that they're still here and they're starting to reload.
Why do you think it wasn't able to hold that 153 level at all, or the 150s?
I mean, you can slice that a bunch of different ways. You could speculate and say, hey, look, the market I wouldn't put it past a bunch of people to be like, oh, the market makers wanted a better price because that moved too fast for them to get through. I don't know. You know, that that move, again, this is like a broader trend. This is
But that was weird, wasn't it? Like 129 to 153, and then
Mhm.
gone within probably like an hour, 2 hours max.
Yeah, it was. No joke. I'm trying to get this larger channel. So yeah, this is the channel right in here. So this is a daily view. I'll just take these lines off for a second. So this is kind of why I'd be okay buying this, right? Like, this like a little bit better view. So I'm still betting that, look, the mega caps, as they start to report, they're probably gonna be saying, hey, look, we're gonna be spending a whole lot, whatever. I don't know. I think maybe it just got a little overheated. In certain technical analysis, this might be a little advanced technical analysis, but this pattern right here, I'll be honest, it does look a little, the word is like distributionary. If you know like Wyckoff is, I don't know if we've talked about that, but this is called like an upthrust right here. And sometimes it's like that blow off top. And I think this day was like epic volume. So I think the market's kind of scared in general, and maybe taking profits ahead of earnings. I just don't see why you would want to do that on NVIDIA. And maybe I'm biased, right? But this is how I see NVIDIA here now. I'm going to know if I'm wrong at 127 and change. But even then, it's like longer term, I'm not going to sell any NVIDIA. But that's where I am right now.
All right. I think it's fair.
It's a tough spot. This is the whole thing. Like, the market's trappy. So I'm thinking that this is a bear trap. I'm hoping that this is a bear trap on NVIDIA. But I'm open to being wrong quickly with the small dollar allocation. I'm medium dollar allocation.
All right. Let's go to a stock that got a pretty big upgrade today by Mr. Morgan Stanley, which is Robinhood.
Look at these guys with their cost bases are NVIDIA.
Damn, some of you guys were early, bro.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's not even that early, right? Well, actually, I think 180 is
$18.90 is pretty early.
No. It was a screaming buy, $8 or whatever it was.
No, we're talking about NVIDIA.
Yeah. Split adjusted. That was 90. So here.
Oh, okay. I see your point. Yeah, I got you. No, that's fair. Okay, yeah, let's do Hood. They teased us today. Got up 10%.
Oh, dude. I mean, I'm so happy with Hood. Just saying, like, I look at this thing, I'm like, man, this thing every time I'm like, the market's getting a haircut. Hood is not, right?
It's stable.
It is stable. One thing that's true is this $44. Let me see where this level comes from. This comes from over here in the IPO days. Not that that's super relevant, because that was a very long time ago. It's like a breakdown level. 43.40. See that? This area. So that's actually what we're toying with, technically speaking, right there. But that said, there's this other term that there's like no such thing as a triple top. I'm kind of looking at this like, okay, 1, 2, 3. This is attempt number 4. I think she cracks, dude. I think it happens.
Cracks to the upside?
I think so. I could be wrong. I could be dead wrong.
I've got 45 in my mind. Are you thinking that's where it cracks up to? Or are you saying
let's figure this out. I didn't even think about that, because honestly, I don't trade Robinhood. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't. I just buy it. Oops.
Guys, we do have some breaking news here. Anthony Noto is joining the board of directors of Warner Brothers Discovery.
Oh, shit.
WBD's up 1% on that news.
Is it over 14? Or is it still under 10?
SoFi is 14.53.
No. WBD.
That's at $9.
Huh.
Nothing too crazy there. That's interesting, dude. We'll talk about that when we get to SoFi, but that's an interesting.
Yeah, I asked you about WBD a long time ago. You're like, I don't like debt-ridden companies.
Well, Steve loves it.
I don't hate it, dude. But there's a lot of debt. I'll give you that.
72 billion in debt is a little bit more than a lot of debt, bro. It's you sound like Steve, right there.
Do I? I like Steve, except we don't have the same view on Ripple. Okay, so the hoodie. This is super interesting. So I'm looking at this here. So this is the consolidation that we're in that I'm measuring from here to here. So I'm measuring this as the box. If we get one more liquidity grab towards that 20-day, see, this is where it's going to get interesting is if this thing goes any higher, this 20-day starts to curl up and the 50-day is going to be there. And we're back into that simple moving average expansion,
right?
Any higher, which is where you get bigger moves. So, no, not 45, 53.
Okay.
But first stop would be 50. First stop would be 50 here, which is 1/2 of this box as a measured move, and a full extension is going to be 53.80. So fully duplicating this consolidation. 50% of the way, that's going to be right in here, just under $50, right? And then 53 on the extension. Does that make sense?
I mean, they're going to have the growth to justify those numbers. I think they will.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm just like, why do I even own
It's an incredible chart, an incredible story as well. It's resilient.
Can we do this?
And the best thing is any dip is like, they have $6 billion in cash. The enterprise value goes down significantly. Like it's an easy dip to kind of buy. Management has $1 billion. They can buy the dip.
We do this thing was $84. I don't know if we really count that.
But 80, yeah, I don't count 84 in 2021.
What can we count this?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know, dude, but every upgrade we're seeing is
that's 95.
Yeah, that would be 95.
Okay, but legitimately, I'm doing it. I'm doing this. We're forecast. So there's a difference between a forecast and a technical trade and investing, all that stuff. Totally different. Forecast is just forecast. So if I were to forecast this like a Palantir, if this is the box of consolidation,
right,
and we actually break out of this, you following here? It takes us to 80,
which is where we were before at one point.
Takes us to 80. You heard it here first.
Well, here's another thing that none of us are mentioning. Robinhood is eligible to be part of the S&P 500 this year.
Listen, all I can tell you is that the second they go into the NASDAQ, I'll probably sell it. Because every time the stock has been put into the NASDAQ 100, it's like a sell signal, man, this last year.
My thing is, dude, they're having 3 events this year. Like, we know there's even more products coming out. So it's just like, it's very exciting.
I don't hate that, man. I don't hate this $80 target at all for like the next year or so, year and a half, maybe.
Yeah,
I really don't hate that at all. I know that's below your target too. Your target's more like this 115.
Well, I said triple digits over the next 5 years. That's what I said last year. I mean, I don't think that's super optimistic or super conservative. Triple digits in the next 5 years. I think I need to see them get to 500 billion in assets.
And I'm beneficial. I don't hate 80 for 2-3 years out either. Yeah, like not at all, really.
Not at all.
But here's why this moment is so important for the hoodies, us hoodies, is that if we crack through this 44 level, that's what this trade becomes.
Yes.
And everybody else is going to be looking at exactly what we just did, right? All of a sudden. So as long as you know, and I don't know that I've seen that chart. Have you seen anybody put a chart like that out there on a measured move for Robinhood from this base to extension?
No, no.
But that's where we are. So again, if we crack through, yeah, sure, $50 for a stop, but
Dude, even if we get to 55, 60 this year, that's a 54% gain. I think a lot of people would be happy with that. Like a lot of people.
yeah,
I'd be very happy with that happening. So
what's 100% gain or 50?
yeah.
But this is why this level is so important and this moment. And I think it's a winner in general for the next couple of years. It's hard to say anything like that for like 2 or 3 years out, barring anything crazy that happens.
So hold on. If we get into high 20s, low 30s, how do you buy? Is that
No, well, it's 25, right? Like so I already did my buy at the 35. I hope that that's gone. If we see it again and at like 34, 35, if we see 34, 35 again and we instantly bounce back up one time, I'll be in it, right? That's 35.72. I'll still be adding. That's the 50-day simple. But it's this area right here, 33. I think it could get ugly, be below 30, 33.90. Could get ugly.
Yeah.
So below that, I might trim it down to underweight and then wait for 25 again. And then reload the boat around that 25 area. But as long as it's holding 35, I'm kind of bulled up on this bad boy, man. Just saying.
Well, look, we did the numbers.
Again, this is one where like this has become like one of my largest holdings, if not. No, it is.
Is it your largest holding? Really?
Uh-huh.
Wow. That's
because I just keep buying dips. Like I'm like, I don't know what to buy today. All right, we'll buy some hood. Because I honestly, like a month or so ago, I went like 60% cash straight up. And so like I've been trying to find dips to buy. Like I bought Shopify the other day, just under 100. I'm looking at picking up some more Boeing because I don't have a full position on Boeing. I think Boeing could have like a GE type setup here. And I mean, I like Meta, even Meta getting shellacked today. I ended up trimming some of my GE and rotated a lot of that into GE Vernova. If you know what that is, I own Quanta Services. I'm just looking, and again, Amazon, but Amazon's like, I got some good buys. I'm not super interested in buying more Amazon just yet. Soon, it's basing. Okay,
let's do SoFi TA, and then we'll get into Amazon.
SoFi, man. This is not an easy ticker, dude. Because like one day you think that like, oh, you've reached the low, and it's like boom, right? Because we're in that price discovery mode. So it's like as close to 14 or sub 14 as you can. It's 13.35 that I have a level at. Yeah, so it's similar, right? So like if we have this box, I still like it. The only thing about this and the rest of the lenders is like, I don't know if the lender situation, if the rates, I feel like we're kind of maxed out, right? Potentially. But if the rates, I don't hate SoFi here at all.
I think it's been holding 1350 very nicely, in my opinion.
Yeah, no,
right?
It's 1335 or so. Like this is from this area. So like you remember when it was support over here and you've broken out of that and now we're retesting it essentially. Like I don't hate that. Do I know that it can go a little bit lower? Yeah. Right. Like a deep pullback could be into like 1170s. but I don't know that we even get that. And this has to be a very long view. This is a weekly chart, right? Because like that's I'm looking from a very long perspective. So monthly, if February were over 1550, this is actually going to be looking pretty nice for if it's next month. So if February SOFI is trending over the center line of this 1550, well, it's going right.
Oh, they have earnings in 2 weeks, and that maybe is the catalyst.
Yeah, so we might get a little bit of this pop. So again, so you're below the 50-day. The next higher low, I really like, which might end up being about that $14 level again. So I'd like to see this area hold around 14 bucks. So if it rejects this, because you're right into this like area of congestion. So if it rejects a little bit and then whips back up like that, I would like that. The only thing with SOFI on earnings specifically is has this really weird tendency to do like this epic pop after hours like this. This is perfect. And they do the double beat and double skeet, right? Which is like, here's SOFI earnings, pop after hours. You celebrate early and you open up and you're bloody red. But if you sell, you're SOL because it eventually like recovers, right?
Correct.
So, so I'm not too excited about earnings. Here's another one, right? This is like every single time, man. Earnings, beat, boom, skeet, right? And it ends up being like a big duper. But again, right? This
earnings would have to fundamentally change the history of how the stock performs on earnings.
Yeah. So just know, if you're in SOFI, you should know this already because you've been through the ringer multiple times. This is the personality of this stock, right? Look at this. Beat, pew, skeet, right? I am hard pressed. Beat, skeet. I can't remember a time that it didn't do that. Look at this, Amit. I've gone through like 2 years worth of earnings now. I'm now looking at July 2023. And every single time it's a massive beat and then a massive skeet, which eventually bases out. Oh my God. How many times does it do this? Like, that's just what it is.
I think Noto's got to drop the hammer on the tech platform this quarter.
It was not until February or January 2023. It wasn't a massive skeet, but it eventually was.
Yeah. It's the tech platform. If they grow that top line.
Beat, skeet. Oh my God. It's so bad. Earnings. All right. That's one that it didn't. So if you have this kind of price action, or if it's flat, I mean, this is $4. What are you going to do at $4? But man,
well, what's interesting about a lot of these companies is they have to give full year guidance for Q4. So if SOFI, says, hey, we're only going to grow 20%.
I'm in 2021 now, and it's still the same. It's still the same thing. All right. Wasn't until 2021 where it wasn't doing, which is basically since inception. So since it's been a publicly traded company, it's been a beat and skeet type trade. That's just what's true. So
here's a question. If they don't beat and skeet, if they beat and they only keep going up, is that bullish for the chart long term?
Yeah, it's a total change of personality, right? So like the personality of the stock would have changed completely, which means that before it's more like a trading vehicle. So people are like, yeah, I'm in, I'm out, I'm in, I'm out, I'm in, I'm out. I'm essentially like, what's the word? Accumulating. But if they're done selling, they're done selling. And that would be a definitive change of character for the stock.
Yeah. Okay. Those were the main 5 names: Palantir, Tesla, NVIDIA, Hood, SOFI. Now, guys, put some tickers in the chat. We're going to try to get through a lot of other tickers. I guess let's start off with Meta because they've got a headline.
It didn't make sense to me like why Meta was getting hit so bad today. So
do you have any thesis? Because I have a thesis if you want to hear it.
No.
So I think TikTok's going to sell themselves to someone in the next 5 days. And that's why the market's upset.
To someone.
Well, Bloomberg reported they were selling to Elon yesterday. TikTok came out and said that's bullshit. But why would Meta go from $630 to $599 unless the TikTok ban was not going to be actually banned. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
maybe.
I mean, I don't know that I actually think the TikTok ban's going to be an actual ban. Do you?
I don't think the Supreme Court's going to allow them to stay. However, there's a 15% chance the Supreme Court extends their ability to figure out what they need to do, meaning they don't have to go black overnight on January 19th, right? Shut off, which is like kind of bullish, I guess, for TikTok, but long term, they're leaving or they're going to be forced to get sold.
They are? You think so?
Oh, 100%. No, dude, no. The Congress, unless Congress reverses what they passed a year ago, like these extensions are not going to last forever. They either sell themselves to a U.S. subsidiary or they get the hell out.
So why would that not be bullish for Meta?
No, that is. But what I'm saying is that if they sell themselves, so it's not bullish because if they sell themselves to Elon, for example, then those 170 million users don't need to go to Instagram, right?
Right. Okay. So you're saying that it's baked into the price that Meta is a predetermined beneficiary of this situation. So that's getting pulled out of the price.
Well, that's 637 Thursday top last week. That was because sentiment had believed in the market, I think, that TikTok is officially going back to China. Now today, based on the Bloomberg article last night, maybe they're not leaving as easily.
So I'm interested in Meta for the year straight up. And this is when I'm not like really positioned in. The last buys I had were in this 355 level. And I still think that is an area to like accumulate. Again, this is higher highs. Now we're starting to see somewhat lower lows right here. So to me, technically, this is interesting, at least this level, if it can begin to hold like that trajectory. But I'm not going to hold my breath too long, for lack of a better term, because I think this is 575 is still like, this is the point of control for that prior consolidation. That's a decent retest, but Meta is a very like what's the word? It's supposed to be alpha. It's got a lot of beta in it, actually. So it has like a lot of like intraday whipsaw price action in it, like a lot. So you have to be kind of cautious, right? Like worst case scenario, it is in the, in this 525 area that I'm definitively a buyer. But just knowing that this is still in price discovery mode, as long as it's holding this trend up in here, I think it's okay, right? Because what I'm seeing is that the people that were buying here before are essentially like moving that buy up. So now this area is defending over here, and it's getting slightly higher and higher and higher. So like, I'm okay with that, and I'll be a buyer as long as that's happening. But if it loses this area, I'm aware that, look, we could be in for a kind of rude awakening in the like 550 or lower type area.
And you like it below 550, you personally, as a buy, or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do. But but there's nothing in the chart right now that tells me we're ever going to see that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's like super speculative.
Okay. Can we do MSTR? And do you still think it's a short?
MSTR, I posted charts like, I think MSTR is about to get really weird, like real weird. So I did this. I sold some $17 MSTZ puts, and I went kind of long MSTR at the same time.
Wow.
This is what
Did you listen to 8 hours of Sailor and you were like, oh yeah, it's a thing?
Hell no. Nothing to do with that. I mean, I'll watch the Sailor tracker. I'm pretty sure that the Bitcoin per share went from 1.00018 to 182. So I think it went down a little bit, but net, as long as the dilution is accretive, the MSTR heads or whatever you call them are out there. What I'm looking at right now is that Gensler did his exit interview this morning, right, on CNBC. And next Monday is inauguration. And I think that there's the sentiment in the crypto space that that's a really bullish thing. Whether or not that's true, I'm not going to actually say long term. Short term, I actually think that you could see a pretty heavy pop in Bitcoin in a run up into Monday's inauguration, but that may eventually be a sell the news event, because I don't think that there's anything, massive that's going to happen near term. Not like from a policy perspective, that's going to take a really long time. So if we get a big move to the upside, I think it's like a Tesla-esque move. So where that's why I'm like, okay, I think the MSTR can yeah.
Well, the Washington Post came out yesterday and they said sources talked to David Sachs, who's the crypto czar, and they said Trump's getting ready to unleash a lot of executive orders on crypto day one.
No, yeah. So I think he might unleash it, right? But like, how long does it take for a policy like that to actually go into effect? So I think you can get that pump. I think it's very possible to get a crypto rally into this inauguration, but whether or not that's sustained, I think that becomes choppy after the fact.
Okay. Can we do...
So here's the thing. So MSTR, connect the highs, man. If this goes, and this is super squeezy. So like the 20-day, 50-day are literally sitting on top of each other. If this thing goes any higher than 360, so remember, this is where they were selling. It's literally on it, right? So you're just above it. I think as here, it's 356. Call it 356. If this thing is trending over 356, you're going to get all these people that are basically like a huge break of the downtrend, which would be accurate. To be fair, this is a pretty big whoosh to 400 on MSTR or higher, 405, and retesting back over here to these highs. So, I would definitely
like it. You like
Huh?
it here. If Bitcoin sustains these levels, you like it.
So I'm not an MSTR bull. I'm not a Bitcoin maxi by any means, but I'm a realist in terms of like what's in front of me is a possibility for a pretty big squeeze. That said, if this fails, right? Like if this fails below that 320 multiple times, right now they have all of this. So they have technical bulls have this kind of inverted head and shoulders in their favor. This is not fired off yet. This is setting up. This is setting up for a pretty heavy squeeze. This is going to be this is 375. That could happen tomorrow, dude. Just saying. 375 could legitimately happen tomorrow. And it's crazy to say if CPI is good and we get a crypto pop, I would not be shocked to see that. Literally.
And this is all, I mean, you don't believe in, you still think it's a Ponzi and all that stuff. You just think technical.
Yeah. True. Correct. And then we could be retesting these highs. And, at that point, they're going to be like, oh, it's like no cap here. Which was funny because we were talking about it in the server. I was like, look, I know where we are. I get where we are. I'm like, all right, I don't really want to be in the way. And quite frankly, like this would be a really cool trade to be able to partake in, because that's not a small move, man. Like, so if like I'm in the market to make money, dude. If I have an opinion one way or the other on a stock, it doesn't have as much weight as like, my job here is to make money. So that's where this would put it. And a basic 50% of this pullback is about 418. So that said, we're not like confirmed by any means. This is an extreme high risk setup because you're not over this level. And like when I say high risk, it's high risk because it just if I zoom in, is a big setup, right? So I'm going to spend a little bit of time. If I zoom in, you're rejecting, right? You reject every time you reject. If you reject bad, right? This is bad, right? And I think that in that case, the whole bull thesis just literally falls apart, and you do see that session got fill at 275 and maybe even further. So it's like, okay, the lows have to be in at 320, has to be that, because if it's not, it's a failed bullish setup, which is very bearish, right?
Yeah.
So with a big giant grain of salt, it's a potential setup that's potentially about to happen, like within a week. We'll see. I don't know. Like, but so these are things that have to happen. It's got to hold 320 area, and really, that's to not be invalidated. It's below 320. It's invalidated. If it's over call it 60, you're confirmed, which means that you are definitively going higher. So we're not confirmed. We're definitely not invalidated. But the setup is here. I don't want to ignore it.
All right.
I want to have it on my watch.
Can we do AMD?
Oh, that's a short still, right?
I don't know,
Almost
you tell me.
like mRNA was a short. Remember this one when we were talking about this at like 80?
Yeah.
Like no. Or TMDX. We're like, no.
That one's very,
No. Was this no, it's not a breakout. It's still not a breakout market, right? That said, you're retesting. So this purple line, again, we talked about it last time, 200-week simple moving average. You don't typically get that area to buy. I don't want to short down here because, and I did short, right? Like I shorted up here, that 128 one more time. Here I was. That's me. Boom. And I cover, right? I actually covered this day at 120 because I wasn't looking for new lows, although we did get them. It's not what I was looking for. If you like AMD, I just feel like you have plenty of time to pick this up. So this is my opinion, I guess. And I don't know if I'm here for that, but it's more like a story stock to me. So these are still, the distance between all these simple moving averages are still getting wider. I mean, this is nowhere close to being long. If you bought it, you could potentially buy it for a bounce, but you gotta know that a bounce is gonna get shorted, and it's gonna be a while before it's out of the water, right? So I can still go back to this that 128 level. I think that's over now, and sellers may get more aggressive. So we're right in here. So I think that becomes this level 121 or so. But basically, and so like it's not that far, right? Not that big of a bounce at this point. You have to see. So either you get this massive flush run, absolutely horrendous news, and you get to pick up AMD sub 100, like 96, which I don't know what that PE puts it at. Or you're buying it here with more ammo to buy it lower. But I'm not interested in shorting this.
Not anymore, right?
No, because it's coiled, right? Like it's a coiled spring. Like something can happen because it's beaten up a lot. But it doesn't give me any signals to go long. It just doesn't. Not here. And I don't know at what point at $100, what's the PE on this? Is that any good?
The PE right now is 89. So at 100, what, in the 60s we get to? Roundabout?
Yeah. So like the reason I'm saying the like hundreds, so this is the dash line is 100. We are just like lower lows and lower highs back to back to back. It's really not until you get to about $100 or thereabouts that you get to see like here, you know, same exercises before, right? Like where were people stepping in? Like we can see where they were stepping in the past, right? Like here.
Well, $100 would be a bad earnings, right? Like, do you think it gets there technically, or that it needs a catalyst to tank that low? I feel like it needs a catalyst, like a real.
I don't think it needs a catalyst. Technically, it's going there right now. That's the problem.
So you think it has no support in this 114, 117 range, where it's been bouncing off of for the past?
It's not strong support, right? Because your support is here. It's this area, but like, really, that's lower. 107s. You see that now? So
Yeah.
like it's support, but it's even still it's a little bit lower. But this one, the incremental moves to the downside, I don't think are that juicy from here.
Which is why it's not a short. I got it.
I mean, it could be a short, but like it's not like a, oh my goodness.
The risk reward is not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you have some levels in here, but like this isn't strong until you get to like 100, honestly.
All right. Can we do a lab filled with rockets?
Yeah, we can.
Because it hit 30.
This is like, so there's like 106s. So this is on my shopping list. Do we have Matt? Is Matt here? Is he going to come on with us? Or when is that happening?
Eventually we should make that happen.
Yeah,
he likes it at 24 though. He doesn't hate it at this range.
Yeah, I mean, so this is when it was getting all that attention for sure, right? Like in this area, the 2134 was that all-time high. That's actually going to line up to the 50-day simple moving average right now. The tough part, it's all tough. It's all like, why can't they make this easy right now? I wish they could. The tough part is it didn't hold that trajectory. We do have a higher high, but now we have an equal low. So like I was thinking about this. I really was. This is definitely consolidation. Definitely consolidation. I still like 21 and change. I don't even know that that's going to be the low, but anything below 21, you're essentially discounting that entire last earnings, or you're getting it for free. If that makes sense. So everything from November through here is credit to this last earnings report. So, and where that happened was $14. I don't know that you can discount everything they've done since then, but that's why I want to talk to Matt because he would know. Can you really discount it? Can the market actually like justify?
It's a good question. Could the market discount all the progress that's been made based on the extended multiple, which obviously at a 40 times price of sales is probably extended. Rocket Lab is at a 33 times price of sales. They are 10 cents away from profitability though.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if they advance profitability earlier than 3Q, that could also be really good.
I mean, if they have more contracts, like I think this has become a catalyst story. So if you have catalysts here, so like if there's contracts coming out, the neutron progress announcements that's going to happen. If you know that that's on the calendar, then I think you're going to have an event to trade around. Until then, you gotta assume that this 22 area has to hold. 22, like call it 20. Well, Matt's saying 24, 23 down to 21. You want that to hold, because if it doesn't hold, then what the market is saying is that everything that just happened in that last quarter, we aren't going to give you credit for anymore. And it's up to you as an investor at that point to decide whether or not that's like justifiable or not.
Yeah, that's fair. Can we do Micron?
Someone asked me to do Micron earlier too. So it was interesting. So like, I mean, down here, that was fine. But you're consolidating. So higher time frame, you're basically right inside one another. Sorry, I hate one of these. And you have to stop having these offset. So you're tight. It's really tight. I think this is going to come down to the rest of earnings. So I think NVIDIA said, hey, look, Micron is the leader, or not the leader, like our supplier for certain things. It's interesting here, but you need to, I would want to wait a little bit, right? Like, so you're testing this area. You've had a couple, what we might call like liquidity grabs. What is that? Oh, that's a trade. A couple like liquidity grabs. So now whoever was buying down here, you essentially want to see them pull it back up so that they continue to buy, but now they're happy to buy higher. And at the moment, it looks like they are. It's just it's in a really, this is super choppy.
Very choppy.
So it's not the cleanest. It looks good for now, but just know you're going to come into, again, a little bit of overhead supply. Oh, that's way low. Yeah, so this is that volume profile, 89, 88. So if I move this, yeah, there it is. So up into this area, that next volume shelf is like 102. So I think this can get off of this setup as long as CPI is like not horrendous. You could get to 102, but then you still got to be kind of cautious, because at 102 you're going to come in and do like another little lower high setup, and it could still be in some kind of consolidation, because you're not out of the woods yet by any means on this guy. It's still consolidating basically. So as long as consolidation is over, so it was 88 before, you want to see that consolidation elevate a little bit to the 90s, and then potentially 97s, 95s, and move it slightly higher until eventually some kind of catalyst happens. Maybe some kind of earnings, or like a pairs trade. Somebody else reports earnings and they mention them, and they catch the bid. But until this is over the big box, which is this box, it's not out of the woods. And if it does get out of that box, then okay, we can look at this. Oops. And say, all right, at that point, you're in the 130s, but it's not until you're out of that box. So out of this box, which means that not until you're over call it 15, that you can realistically think that that's in play.
Can we do a name that, I don't know, maybe you're interested in trading, maybe not. But curious on your take on it. Can we do, I guess we'll do this one, but you can talk about the whole sector. RGTI, Rigetti, Quantum. What are your thoughts on what's going on here?
These are squeezy stocks. Hey, if you did the buy one, get one free that day, would you be positive yet?
What do you mean?
When everybody was down 50%?
No, you would have to wait until yesterday when it was down 30%. That's when.
So 80% done is what
80,
it was.
Yeah, 70 to 80%. Yeah.
Dang. Well, so 72. When we were looking at this before, so we were looking at it way over here, and clearly we missed this. I remember looking at this with you and the stream really down here. Do you remember this?
Yep.
People were asking, hey, what about this? This is $3, right? So let's do this. So this is the consolidation that it broke out of. So I just want to make sure, where are your targets from that $3 consolidation to the lows? Your real target, 874. And that's kind of like where you stopped at today. Right there. You're on the 50-day. I think this is a technical bounce.
Some people are saying the shorts are covering today around quantum, and that's what.
Yeah, for sure. No,
but also Microsoft put out this blog. Maybe.
Yeah, I think I caught that tail end of that. The problem I have with this is that this low is a breach of all these lows. So it's technically a lower low, because if this stops, but again, these are very low float tickers. So, I mean, it could do that pretty quickly.
Yeah.
The last area they were buying that made that last big push was in the 11s. And it's a 24-hour ticker. So these things move a lot after hours, like in the pre-market. So you got to be careful. Sometimes in the pre-market, it looks really good. And then the New York session opens and they just get absolutely demolished. So here's an interesting spot right here. So there were some sellers and then they rebought right at 850. For sure, you want to see this area hold. I think that's a given. But if it can get over this, what is that, 980s? If it gets rejected, like in these $10 levels, right in here, this is such a tough spot. It's kind of like a no-touch spot for me.
Wow, Rigetti had more volume than Tesla today.
Rigetti, I mean, it's a $9 stock. So you're talking about shares, net shares?
Yeah, but Tesla had 83 million in volume. Rigetti had 350 million. I get it. It's
dollars or shares?
No, shares.
Okay.
It's pure shares. I mean, that's a lot of shares going back and forth. That's 4x the volume of Tesla.
Yeah, but it's almost double the average volume. So 30-day average volume 182,000 or 182 million.
Yeah.
So it's almost double the average volume. So it's on good volume. Bounce right off the 50-day simple, defending this area here. If it comes back and you hold slightly higher, so that's 7s, and then you bounce again and you start to consolidate, I think that you could see another push potentially, but these are very squeezy. And you have to just strictly play sentiment and technicals, because at this point, I don't know how realistic these are from a fundamental valuation.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it's tough. It's definitely not out of the weeds until you're over 1130s, right? So there's a box like of the big sell-off here. This is the imbalance of the market. So if you're patient, right, and you wait for this area to start to fill, I'm just going to pull this back. So see where this on the right-hand side. So see where this like volume peak. So there's a good amount of volume here, but it's once you're over like here, 1138. If you see it trading in the New York session over 1138, you're very likely to get sucked up in very short order and see another squeeze type play up into the 17s in maybe a single or two or one or two sessions. Okay.
All right. Can we do Square?
Oh, good. I haven't looked at Square in a bit. This was kind of interesting area.
So this one's always confusing to me, because why isn't it moving with Bitcoin?
Or just that's why it's like the most under the radar crypto stock, because it just doesn't get any credit for that. Remember how like Robinhood never got credit for it either. So
No, but when Robinhood was $7, it started to get credit pretty quickly once crypto came back. Like Square, I
sure.
feel like.
No, it hasn't, right? But that is why this to me is like the most under the radar potential legitimate crypto ticker. I thought this ticker was going to change to XYZ.
Oh, it is January 25th.
January 25th. Did you hear what XYZ was?
I think it's Dorsey being Dorsey. That's
No,
like I don't even know why it's called block.
I think if
bro.
you
The whole
chart
thing is,
XYZ or something, it's a square.
see, I don't like that. I don't like that. I really don't like that.
You guys, am I right? Yeah.
Square does own more Bitcoin than Hood, but the problem is they don't custody as much Bitcoin as Hood. That's what makes it move or not. They could own as much Bitcoin as they want, but it has to actually move the ticker.
Oh, it's a cube. I'm sorry.
Oh,
It's a 3D.
Dude, why is Dorsey focused on the ticker symbol? Like, I feel like there's other stuff they need to be focused on than that.
So this is an intriguing spot, quite frankly. So this is like a prior breakout and then coming back in to test this area. I don't hate it here at all. I really don't. But it's so under the radar that it just doesn't get a lot of love. It's a very late stage mover. So you'll probably see PayPal move first and Square will still be sitting there. So I wouldn't say you have to rush into this, but I don't hate it here one bit.
But you don't have a position, or you do?
No, I might soon because like I need to see. So what I need to see on SPY, I need to see where we go from here. Like I have to see. I have like a hard rule set, right? So like, what's cool about today, is like we held this NFP low. Like so, this is January. I use for my trends, right? It's very like pinpoint precision, but super accurate. So this is the day that we got our NFP for SPY. And so this was the low of that session. What I'm looking for is actually like a couple days trading over 588 to confirm that we're back in an uptrend. Right now, while we're in Friday's range, so this is Friday's range right here. So this is Friday. While we're trading inside of this box, I expect us to be super choppy and super range bound, but we would trade the edges. And so what I mean by that is I expect us to go like this, like until we get a clean break out. And like, this is how like pinpoint precision is very weird, right? So just like this, today we opened above that last Friday low, we closed above it, but we have CPI. The same thing was true back in December when we were talking about this, and I was talking about the same kind of level. This is like a fundamental event that determines your technical trend on non-farm payroll day. So this was 605.74. This is that first Friday of December. This was the low. We trade. I expect to say in the box. And I think it was this day where we were talking about it. I was like, I would be mega short if it wasn't for CPI this day. Sure enough, CPI popped us up, but eventually we did break down. So what this looks like is, and these are, by the way, these are just like, this is a level you could chart yourself if you want to, but I have 1 full day below, 2 full days below, and then on the third trading day, so I'm looking for 2 to 3 days outside of this last Friday's range for comparison, right? So I have 1, 2, the third day, boom, flush. What I want to see is a similar effect of 3 days outside of this box now. So downside, what I'd say is it gets really choppy and there's a lot of defensive levels here. So when we were down at 575, remember we were up here. I said, look, if we fail, we're going to 575. I literally said 575 when we were right here. I was like, if it wasn't for CPI, I'd be saying 575. Boom, 575. Where that came from was this November print on non-farm payrolls, 575.55. We got there. So target downside acquired to the penny. But we're not out of the woods yet. And so to be out of the woods here is that I actually need to see a couple clean days fully outside of this range, which at this point could be a big range. So I got to be patient, right? So I need to see full opens and closes over 588.30 to be more comfortable on SPY. Until then, what I know is that we could be retesting one, like maybe this prior all-time high pivot. But we're not out of the woods until we're over 588. That said, like downside, so this looks more like accumulation now to me, because the downside targets are like, look, 568. I really don't see us going much further below that. There's a lot of defensive areas in this situation, like in this setup. But if for whatever reason we do lose this low, then we will see a flusher done to 555. But it's not until we get there that I'm really even thinking about that. So for now, I'm still thinking constructive view. We're over this kind of area. So, but to be confirmed, I need to be over 589 for a couple days.
And you see 5,700 as support, right?
Yeah. So these lines right in here, this was all support.
Right. That's
all
what
of
I
this.
remember. Yeah.
Yeah. This is all support, right? So that was that downside target. And at this point now, it's really just got to be this. So it's gotta hold. The thing is, to the downside, because it's so choppy down here, I would say if we have days where we're opening up below 578 and we're starting to go lower, we're going to go lower, and we'll hit these levels one at a time. But each one of these levels are really close together, unlike the Qs, where it's not a similar set. The Qs have bigger gaps, right? So Qs, same thing. We're holding this box 503. Downside, if we have a daily open and close below 503, then I know that we're going lower, but we're only going to 496. Eventually 490 is the level where I would actually be looking to pick up down in here, in this box down here, but you're not confirmed upside here until you're over 514, which seems like it could be, it's a decently large range, to be completely honest. Like, this is the range here. So it's this box, and it's Friday's trade. It's literally just that simple.
Yeah. Okay. Can we do Nike, which is almost below 70 right now?
I bought Nike again, and I'm like, okay, I don't know. It didn't work. It's not been good. Let me clean up a lot of this. I have a lot of lines and shenanigans here.
I wonder if Ackman still holds this thing, dude, or if he liquidated. But he's definitely at a loss right now. There's no way he's.
It's not that bad. Like, I'm pretty sure he was buying, like, in this area.
I think about 75.
I literally bought that, and then I just added a little bit in here, right? So today was a little bit lower low, but it was so small of a lower low. I think that we get retail sales again Thursday, and between CPI and retail sales, this might be a little bit of a liquidity grab. Like, I literally bought it yesterday, like right about here. I'm okay. I'm okay here, because it's not like I feel like it's mostly de-risked, but it's not. Look, the freaking stock is not going up. That's for sure.
I think the street wants to see it more than believe it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. This area is like what I'm trading against, essentially, right in here. I think these are literally my buys, like right in here, because when we pulled it over, It was this. It was this gap and this order block. But how strong is that? I don't know. This is 68s.
Okay. Can we do a new stock?
And even at this point, so I know. So being long here, equity, I know my downside is like that 68. And I still have to think about like, okay, that's a couple bucks lower. What am I going to do if it gets there? Am I going to buy it again, or am I going to sell it? I'm probably not going to sell it. So I'll just sit on it.
Okay. Can we do a stock that Steve purchased recently, which is SMCI?
Oh, maybe because it's now out of the queues.
Maybe.
I like Steve, I think, but some of the picks, man, I don't.
He thinks NVIDIA, if it's NVIDIA is growing, the servicing of the GPUs have to grow as well. Therefore, you get to SMCI. I don't think that's a horrible thesis. I just don't like management in this company.
I'm with you. So I think he's right. But here's the real thing. Let's say that actually happens, and then they report that it happens. Who's going to believe it?
That's a good point.
Because their accounting shot.
Well, they have a new firm, right? Even if it's not Ernst & Young.
Uh-huh.
So I agree with you. I mean, they still haven't filed the 10K, bro.
That's what I'm saying. So I don't hate it. And I think he's probably correct on that assumption. But they have a trust issue.
Yeah, agreed.
So that's the problem. So like I don't hate it at all. This is a big area of support right at 27. Really was. This is again that 200-week simple moving average coming into play. I think AMD. So this is what I was looking at. This is an example of a 200-week simple moving average kind of acting like it. AMD could get a big flush down below and then springboard up. I think that, but it may end up looking just like this. So anyways, that'd be like $90, 95. Anyways, yeah, 27s, as close to that area as you can. I don't think these guys are folding, whoever was buying or accumulating there. Look, if you like SMCI, or no, let me put it this way. I think it's de-risked, because if you don't like SMCI, I don't think you're in it anymore.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So he could have a good trade on his hands. I just don't know how I like it from an investment perspective. I'd still rather Dell, but Dell, the market does not understand Dell at all. And I would rather Dell literally at this level.
Dell over SMCI at these levels.
I really like Dell at the. Okay, so this goes maybe on the shopping list. Like, I like this. Dell's interesting here for sure. But all this is to say, like, hey, look, we get into earnings season. The cloud providers start to, when hyperscalers, whatever you want to call them, cloud providers and Meta start to report. They'll talk about how much they're going. Yeah, Dell. That's the thing. Dell is not going anywhere. The only question for me on Dell is like, is it valued correctly here? I think we were talking about Arista, and we talked about this. Esther, did you talk to Jose yet?
Yeah, he likes it. He doesn't own it, but he likes it.
He does. Does he have a price target?
He doesn't really do that. I don't know. You're unique, dude. You're able to actually figure out a price. Most people, they either like it or they don't, but price is hard. Yeah, I mean, or else they're just throwing out a price out of whatever, right? But
yeah. So I liked it at 125. I think you get this bounce right here. But now I have to see. So this is like Arista. Arista, I like at 100. The one stock I'm buying right now that I have no issue with buying is like, we could talk about it in a little bit, but this is this channel up. We talked about this level on Astera, that would be right where you end up buying. And so far, so good, but you got to see that it holds momentum. You don't want to see it lose this 120 level. But I am buying Palo Alto because I just, this is best of breed. I don't care what you say. I love this company and I like the stock, but it doesn't usually give you a whole lot of chances under the 200. So I ended up buying a little bit here, both in options and equity.
Why is it down? Is cyber taking a dip in general?
Couldn't tell you. So I'm not really following that much, but I like the level. And any reason that Palo Alto's down, I would just assume is that this is where I like it so much. If it's down for whatever news, it's going to be a near-term catalyst because I have that much faith in the company. But that said, that's that. But this, I had decent confluence here from a retest, breakout retest here at the 200. I got a decent amount of things lining up here on Palo Alto. So I went ahead, took some shots.
Okay, we have a new one coming up, but two things I want to say to everyone. First, please make sure you are following Jason on X because he takes time away from his wife and his kid every week for us to do this. So there is his X. Is that a Red Bull or a Celsius?
It's a Red Bull.
You're cheating. You're cheating on Celsius. It is what it
Dude,
is.
my entire fridge here is stocked with Red Bull. Anyways,
Yeah, you gave up on the stock, gave up on the drink.
I did. What can I mean, true to my word, throw it away out in the garbage.
Second of all, we got a headline here. I know a lot of people did not think this Bloomberg Elon TikTok headline was real. Well, just now, the Financial Times reporting Chinese officials reportedly want Tesla CEO Elon Musk to help broker a deal for TikTok's U.S. operations as the app faces a potential ban in 5 days under U.S. law requiring ByteDance to divest the stake. Musk, owner of X and close to Trump, is seen as influential in convincing the U.S. to delay or modify the ban. Additionally, Elon has a very big business in China, and he knows, a decent amount of the Chinese officials. So maybe there's a world where this thing doesn't end up getting banned as easily.
Really?
Yeah. All right. Hims was next. So
was it? By the way, someone asked, do we know SentinelOne? Yes, I know it well. It's not a competitor to Palo Alto to me, by the way. So Palo Alto is network security. CrowdStrike is endpoint security, which are moving into SIMs also. So just holistic security. But SentinelOne is very much endpoint. So if you think of endpoint, that's like a cell phone is an endpoint, or a server or a laptop is an endpoint on your network. Network security is getting into the network first. So it's where they secure essentially. But anyways, so but I think SentinelOne's PE is way up there. Amit will confirm or deny, one of the two. But so Hims I had at this 25 level. I think
they're not even profitable, so they don't even have a PE.
Oh, there you go.
Or at least not on a trailing 12 months. At least
cash to, I don't know, whatever metrics you want. So this was I like Hims. Lily we talked about this not that long ago. I'm still fat though. I haven't even ordered my GLP-1s, so there's that. So maybe they don't get that much. I probably won't ever do it. But this is, I was looking in this area here as support, where this was resistance. So you can see prior, this was resistance over here. So does this resistance become support now over here? And that's actually kind of what I'm looking at. So we call this a SR flip or resistance becoming support. That would be ideal. And I do think that the transactional piece, even though GLP-1s and stuff like that, and that's what I'm focusing on for him, is not your ED stuff. I think they make the same amount on the transactions, right? It's not like Lilly, who, it's the net cost of the drug, because the more that the drug costs, the more that they make. I think Hims and the other distributors probably make the same or a similar percentage. But yeah, this is it's not going anywhere yet. It's consolidation. It's interesting. I own a little bit, not a lot, but it's something I would be if it's bright red days, I might pick up a little bit. But yeah, below 24 is where you want to be doing that kind of shenanigans. Because again, low float, this is very headline driven. So a lot of times, like if there's a headline that hits the stock in a negative way, but you maybe personally want to call bullshit on the headline, or like, hey, look, this price reaction is not that is not right. It will likely give you an opportunity to do something like that, which to do like, it'll give you an opportunity to buy, right? So like,
Yeah.
this is Lilly, right? So like, is this headline, I think whatever it was like, oh, Lilly's trying to,
They lowered guidance for their weight loss drug. They lowered it by $2 billion. So
was it that, or was it
yeah, that was the headline.
okay.
It was like a pre-earnings release of their guidance going significantly lower than what the street wanted.
Yeah, and this, it's based on the ongoing negotiations of drug pricing with the Biden administration, right? So that's why they have to lower guidance, because they think that the administration is going to put a cap on what they can sell it for.
Yeah.
And so I think that if that's true, then this is likely justified, personally. Where does it go? 600. Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand pharma as well. That's
unless something, this is not really that kind of pharma. This is not like biotech.
No, I know it's not biotech, but you got to know the drugs of the company you're investing in.
Yeah,
right?
you got to know the pipeline, right? So like Lilly has a big pipeline too. So like, this is where, like, if you get the opportunity, yeah, you'd probably like dabble. But yeah, you have to stay really close to the schedules and things like that, and whatever's going on, and especially these like drug price negotiations with the administration.
Okay, can we do Archer?
But this is, if you want to nibble here, or you don't think, let's say for Lilly, as an example, if you don't think anything's going to happen with those price negotiations, and they just lower guidance just to be cautious, even though nothing actually happens. So if nothing happens, this goes right back up, and this was all for naught.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Wait,
Archer. ACHR.
You tell I clearly follow the stock. I don't. This is the
eVTOLs flying
eVTOLs.
in the air.
I don't even know.
It went from 3 to 10. Now it's back at what, 7 or 8. Something
I don't even know what eVTOLs are.
Electric
Interesting.
takeoff jets, basically. Vertical takeoff jets. The thing Uber's working on, but really hasn't.
There's a lot of companies working on that, though. Don't they exist? They exist. Oh no, electric.
Yeah.
What's the purpose?
Archer and Joby are one of the better ones.
No, I thought Joby was the DoorDash thing.
No, what? DoorDash? What?
Which is the one that has the little robot dog that delivers your DoorDash food?
That is not Joby, that's for sure. I don't know
Okay.
what it is, but it's not
There's
Joby.
some EV company that is that. $7 under $8. You want to take a stab at it under $8, have at it. But you need to see this area retest. That's $7. Actually, is what it is. $7. Think you come down.
Okay. Can we do Google?
175 yet?
Not yet. 189.
Oh, that's not bad. I thought it was gonna be a lot worse. Am I on some playback? Oh my god. No, I'm not. I was okay. Oh, it's hanging in there, man. Doesn't look good, but it's hanging in there. So 175 was Willow, right? So I took it long here and I got lucky, and then I closed her out. But Willow was the announcement that made this big push. So I think you can watch the quantum names. Sir,
company. Yeah.
there it is. Thank you.
Oh.
I wasn't crazy though. It's a real thing, right?
I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it.
Dude, I mean, long serve. Anyways, yeah. So this is where you are, right? Right now, I mean, 200 clearly massive psychological resistance, massive. Um, i- if this holds, we can be bullish. Let me be a bull for you guys, and I'll be a bear because I'm no dog in this race. So a bull case 212, potentially 218 on an extension of this consolidation here. So that's this consolidation. If it doubles, that's going to be 218. That said, you do look like you're kind of holding. This is very much going to be into a CPI situation. I don't really know if this is like accumulation or distribution. It's hard to see. It's hard to tell right now. Accumulation meaning like, are people buying it actively on dips, or are they selling it actively on rips? 187 is like where it seems that there's some people slightly interested in it. Like at 175, I think you're pricing Willow is priced out, and you get that, I guess, at a discount. Maybe you see something from that in 15 years. Google Glass is still a thing, probably one of the better ones. But it's not until it's over 190. So 190, 196. This is your critical pivot. That's that prior high right here, July 12th, 2024. You're technically below that. So you're going to chop around this area for a while before it really decides. I think heading into earnings, when do they report? It's probably the 27th or 30th. Oh, February 4th. They're among the last to report. So you might get a little dipper. Definite dipper is 182. But I don't have anything that's saying, but as long as this is over 187, I don't see that 182 is in the cards right now. If that makes sense. If this holds basically yesterday's low, then this could make another little push to the upside. I don't know if it actually, I don't think it breaks through on the next one though. I think this still is in consolidation. I just don't know if it's accumulation or distribution yet. We're about to find out.
Okay. Can we do one more and then we'll get into rapid fire and I'll get you out of here in basically 10 minutes. Can we do grab?
What this is the wait here.
No, not grinder. Grab.
Oh, this looks good. You're along here in sevens. Have you guys seen this new profile pic? My God. Just money.
How did you see it?
I mean, dude, you sent it to me. You don't remember?
No, it seems like you were on the app if you saw it.
I was, dude. Absolutely.
Okay, well, just want to make sure everyone knows.
Yeah. Did you show them my old grinder profile
No,
picture?
I did not show them.
Because, dude, it's money. I mean, you'd be like, who's that?
Did you have the fade? You had this fade on this?
I did. All
right. I like it. I like the fade. I like it. It looks good to me.
You could show them. It was my glory days.
All right. So grab to me, I think is getting hit for the strong dollar. That's the only reason I think it's getting hit, but maybe some technicals can explain.
We should look at the dollar after this. Side note, right?
Okay.
I think that's super important. And the broader view. So the breakout level was $4. I tried to party with you for a little bit. Then I was like, yeah, we'll see. But so after the breakout, there was a little consolidation area, technically speaking. So I think actually right here. Oh, dude. Did you buy it today?
No, I might have put in an order and I'm not buying the stock.
I put an order that red wire at 15 and it triggered, and then I ended up buying a little bit, but at 13, I mean below 13, I think I'll start to actually buy stuff. This is the box that I would be very interested in watching. If I were to blindly place orders, it would be at
420 and below.
yeah, it's a good number, right?
Yeah.
At 420. I think that's a good spot. But if you wanted to stick your toe in, I don't hate this here because like what's 436 to 420? What do you care? Because this is where it could get kind of bouncy for sure. So it's an interesting level. It's not confirmed. The box is down to 405. So as close to 4 or potentially below. At that point, what you're doing is you're retesting the prior highs, right?
Right.
So that said, it can go a little deeper still, and it could get into this 360 area, which might be actually a screamer of a buy.
At that point, dude, they'd be 60% cash on the balance sheet.
Yeah,
Like
I
35%.
yeah, I don't know that really. Rivian was 60% cash at.
Yeah, but Rivian's not a real
35.
business, bro. Rivian's a piece of shit. Grab's like,
Hey, Rivian's about to be.
Rivian is a piece of shit.
Rivian is about
not make
to
a gross
be-
profit.
They're about to start making profits.
Grab reminds me of Hood when it was at 80% cash. A real business. that's
If
about to
Hood
break
was
out.
in Singapore,
No, but I don't care about where they're located. I care about
but I
their
do.
margins and their
You
growth.
should. You should.
No. Well, it depends. Are they growing? Hood was growing, and then they broke out from being trading at cash.
Rivian's growing,
Rivian, they can't make a profit. What do you mean they're growing?
but they're growing in their install base.
What do you thought? They're getting saved by Volkswagen, that's dumping billions into them.
Let's go, Volkswagen. But anyways, I think it's interesting. It's not. I don't think it's a bad flyer here, but just like percentage wise, it's probably. I have a hard time with like sub $5 stocks because like they'll fly around like crazy. And if you look at percentages, you'd be like, holy shit! Especially if you have like real dollars in there, it can be wild. Repeat shits on Tesla. I'm just saying, Grab isn't a U.S. company.
Yeah, but it is not that convincing. I mean, Grab's is listed on the NASDAQ. You're not buying ADRs when you're buying Grab. That I would have never touched it if I wasn't actually getting shares. They IPO'd on the NASDAQ. So
Yeah.
and their books are as clean as you can get when it comes to Asia.
I mean, look, I'm not discounting any of that. And I think I think the company is good, but is the stock good? I don't know.
The stock's dead until the dollar comes down. That's my thesis.
Okay. So speaking of, the Dixie. Big
Wait,
chart.
did you just say Dixie?
Yeah, the Dixie.
Gay!
Okay. Is that a thing on the show?
Dude, I should have said it when you said some of your grinder pick. I missed my opportunity to press it. I was so mad. But you gave me a new one. So here we go.
So the Dixie, I think, is right up into that overhead like area. So to me, it was like, okay, here's where I'm at. I feel like if the Dixie is below 109 DXY, then we should be getting some Momo. Until then, it's TBD. Today, the dollar DXY is coming into 109. My concern would be that CPI, my concern would be that today advanced decliners are way high. The dollar is coming into that level. It might set up for a bounce. Like I don't want to see the dollar bounce at 109, but near term, this is the 109 level, right? 109 spot 069 specifically. I think it could come in here. If we see this level fail, then then at that point I would expect to see SPY over that 588, 590 level. If I don't see SPY over that level, then I think it's one of these two is not telling the truth. Either the dollar is going to go back up or SPY is underpriced and it needs to go higher. One of the two. So I think this is like probably your critical tell right now in the markets. And that is 109 on the dollar, I think is your key pivot. So we're coming in. We have a decent little bounce today, but not like fully out of the weeds. Clearly, this is at like a major pivot coming into a pretty big pivot. It could bounce. I don't want to see that. I want to see this 109 actually fail. And that's going to happen tomorrow. based on CPI. This is going to go one way or the other. It's also going to move the 10-year, which TNX is the 10-year yield. Toppy, super toppy, right? So 4.8.
Wait, I could buy TNX. I could buy the 10-year. I didn't even. No, you can't buy it on. It's not like on regular exchanges. Okay.
You cannot.
Yeah.
It is not a tradable ticker.
I was like, that'd be cool.
You can buy.
There's so many other ways to get.
You can buy futures.
Yeah, you can buy futures with it too.
Of the note, right? So this is the bond. So this is the 10-year bond. It's not the yield. TNX is the actual yield.
Right.
So inverse to the bonds. It's there. It's a little toppy, but it's right at the peaks, man.
It's right at October highs, 2023.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we're right there. This is what we call like a fair value gap. So we use fair value gaps as areas of interest to find where, like, you know, the inefficiencies in the market where things get pulled to and maybe reverse around those kind of areas. So this is in a potential spot that it could reverse. Very potential. This could go 4.86, possibly, but yeah, this is it, right? Like literally, that's it. I think we're kind of capped out here, man. So that's me. I think the long.
I think you're right. I think we capped out.
I think the long yield, and this is by the way, this is TLT, the long bond at 84, which is why I was like, that was my downside target. You're seeing it also here. So this is even longer duration. This is 20 plus years. This is the bond, not the yield. But I think this is close to bottoming also, and you're kind of in this box, which would be up to 100. This is not fun trading, but slow going. So all that said, the dollar at critical support, the yields at critical mass. I think if we see the yields come back in and we see the dollar below that 109, those are your barometers for the market to actually be like, okay, I think this is a better setup, regardless of what the chart is saying on SPY. If that's the case, if the yields are coming down, the dollar's below 109, and if SPY is not over 590, then something's wrong. One of these two is not telling you the truth, and you just have to make your decision on which one. In that case, to me, I think that SPY would be going up. So if it's not, but yet you see these two things happening at the same time, I think that's a good barometer to be like, okay, I'm getting a little confluence. But you know, it's Thursday, right? So tomorrow we get CPI, which is the market's favorite gauge. I'm a little concerned that we could get a bull trap tomorrow if it's too much of a reaction. So as an example, if the market flies tomorrow and the yields do not come down and the dollar is bouncing, that's the reverse of what I just said. Then I'm like, bullshit. Something's not the bond market, as much as people think that the stock market or the Fed make things go. It's more like the Fed is like, the bonds are like what actually runs the show, right? So the bond market is likely the one that you'd want to believe in this case, but I think for right now this is pretty topped out to me. So that's what I expect. And again, if we see a big green day tomorrow, but yet the dollar's bouncing and the yields are still at the highs, I wouldn't necessarily believe the bounce on SPY. That's just me.
Right. All right, Jason, we got you for 10 more minutes?
Yeah. We're
okay.
fine.
I got a bunch of names. Try to spend like 30 seconds to a minute max on them because
I don't think CPI is expected to come in hot. I think CPI is expected to come in cool. That's the concern.
Correct. It's 2.9 is what the bank.
Yeah. So consensus at 2, prior 3, forecast 3. So like 3, and we're gonna lose. That's not right. Yeah, I think it's the month over month. We're gonna lose 275. So if we come in below 275, then we might get a little movement. But yeah, I think some consensus. It's probably at consensus. It's probably forecasted to be about 275, somewhere between the consensus and forecast.
All right. So again, Jason, a minute max, because if you do more, then we're gonna be here for like another hour. So you gotta be quick on these.
I think I'm today. Okay.
Let's start with Marathon.
Mara. Oh. This is
Sentiment went bad on this one.
What's that?
Sentiment went bad on this one.
Did it? Why?
I mean, because it's Marathon. Like,
Oh, because it's a minor.
yeah, it's a Bitcoin miner. I mean,
it is. So I would say it's not bearish here. So it wasn't bullish like this, but honestly, if you like Mara, you need to be buying it here. I'm not into miners, but this is an area where like I would probably say it's not a short, because you have a lot of support down in here. This would be like where TJ's probably selling his puts left and right if this was Riot, right? If we were looking at this and if this was Riot, he'd be selling the crap out of puts. And even if it came down, he'd probably be selling more puts because it's not a short. No, you don't. This is where you would start to think that it will bounce. Did you go along this?
No.
Yeah.
APLD, Applied Digital. They got a $5 billion investment this morning.
Sell that news. So this is that's earnings.
They have earnings today as well, which I think were decent from.
No. So here's the, if you want to know Jedi mind tricks about news, if it's a good headline but bad price action, it's a short. If it's a bad headline but good price action, it's a long. So you kind of inverse, if that makes sense. If it's a good headline and good price action, you're good. But you're kind of neutral actually. But if it's the tells are, if it's a good headline like that but bad price action, it's really not good. It's bearish.
Okay. Shark Ninja.
Bearish. How's that? Near-term bearish. Give it to sevens. Shark Ninja. What's the ticker?
SN. You said you liked it, I think 2 weeks ago. Thought you liked it.
No, I like the creamies. Like, do you have a creamy?
No, I don't.
Good. Worth it. Worth it. You know how much?
I don't.
You don't like ice cream, dude?
I used to when I was little. I don't eat ice cream that much anymore.
Dude.
Like it?
Yeah. This could be. I just feel like they're getting a lot of traction. They're so high up there. How is this on PE? 14 billion.
Shark Ninja trades at a 32 PE. What's their growth? You're paying 30 times for what?
I think they're growing. Well. And this is what's interesting in the market. I think they're growing. I still Trump coming in. I think the consumer gets it's a retail sales type trade, right? I think the consumer gets a pump.
And the chart looks good to you.
Yeah, it doesn't look bad at all. So this consolidating over the 20 and 50, if this goes any higher, here's what's going to happen. If you play the tape forward, the 20-day is going to start expanding. The 50 day is going to go this way. The 200, the slope, the angle of the 200-day SMA is clearly, it's like 30 degrees. That's positive. And then if you get this separation, then all of a sudden the distance between those two SMAs or three simple moving averages, that's going higher again. So this may be an exhaustion, but this doesn't look horrible. That would put you in the just under 130 area, which could be, I don't know, 20% upside. Yeah.
Okay.
If that works out.
Okay.
Your stop would have to be 99.
TSM.
Shark Ninja looks better.
Way better.
Is that weird? It's the weirdest thing, man.
It's funny because it might be in a more important company, but the chart might suck.
Yeah. Yeah. I bought a Shark vacuum or two also. And I'm a Dyson person. I had Dyson. And then I was like, fuck it, Shark. Weird. I think this is still, I think this is fine, actually. Quite frankly, on TSM. This is one where like you buy the red days, buy the dips. This is just slow progression to the upside, higher highs and higher lows, but it's very choppy inside. So I'd be like more close to that 200 level or just below. Below 200, it looks like it's getting some interest. 195. If you get it below 195, that's better. But I wouldn't want to see it lose too deeply. This little pocket right here. That's 185. So no, I don't really want it below 185. From a trading perspective, if you're investing, then you want to be a buyer below 185.
Yeah. Okay, can we do GitLab?
Low float.
This one doesn't get a lot of coverage either.
No,
but it's a good company. It's not a bad company.
Yeah, you have a good company. You have a great company and a shit stock sometimes.
Yeah,
like Rivian.
No, dude, I like Rivian. I just I don't know. They're not.
You just shat all over it.
I mean, they're not a real company yet, dude. They're not what are you doing?
They're a real company, man.
Bro, every time I hear the CEO talk, I'm like, do you need some water or something? Do you need to speak up?
We'll go to Palantir headquarters. We'll go to Rivian headquarters, and you tell me Rivian's not a real company.
Oh, we're in the headquarters. It's a real company. Then they invited me to the headquarters. But
yeah. All right, you can come to our headquarters too. It's a halfway real company. Not as nice of a building though. We'll say that. 58, dude. It looks interesting. It looks like it's consolidating. This is very choppy, super choppy. One of those where you'd probably just throw those buy orders out there, or randomly buy on a whim, because it doesn't look like it gets a lot of traction from a technical perspective. But breakout, retest at 58, it's okay. The only issue is that this high is not a higher high, so this means that it could be more chop ahead. So that said, if this does pop, you could get a lower high again to retest this and continue going sideways.
Okay. Can we do RKT, Rocket Mortgage?
Rate play?
Yeah.
Dude, what just happened?
I think this has to do with yields. And I also think this has to do with inflation, because rates need to come down for the mortgage companies to do well.
This is where I'm at, right? I actually like the builders. I like some of these things because when I think of the yields that we just looked at, I feel like it's topped out, right? So I feel like a lot of these are at max pain type levels, which is counter trend. To be crystal clear, this is a counter trend long, because it's going down. So when you're counter trend trading, you just got to know, hey, look, you're not there forever. But I would venture to say this is a buy, my dude.
By the way, Kramer's tweeting about Rigetti right now, so he hates it.
Oh, so there's
everything got quantums to the moon, bro.
It's probably a buy. If you want to be safer on, so again, not a very popular stock. It's a squeezy stock. It is. I know the stock is very squeezy. You want to see it get up to like 12 and then pull back a little bit and hold this 1140 area. So if you can see my screen, there's this little white line that's 20-day simple. So you're going to run into overhead resistance right now. So it's like, it looks okay, but like it would, in this case, it would actually be safer to wait for it to pop up to like that 12s and then come back down and hold into this 1130 area and then start to chop and then potentially go higher. This would be a better, this would be a more textbook type entry, even though it's a higher price point. You have a lot of the risk out of the way, because at that point you can have a hard stop at 1079. So then you're risking what, 50 cents in this instance. Whereas if you go along here and it just rejects like a TMDX, you unless you can get out of the way quickly without ever going green, it's still like, it's this 1060. Like, even if it rejects, but if it holds 1060, I think you'll be okay, or thereabouts. This is a crazy move, all happening after hours. Or no, this is just happening now. Today's session.
Yeah. By the way, guys, this headline that just broke, SEC sues Elon over securities violation, I think that's BS. They're just trying to do something before Gensler leaves. It'll get reversed, I think, pretty soon. But maybe something that affects Tesla.
And I just, for a reference, right? So if that is so referencing, like, if you're looking for a simple moving average breakthrough, that's like a breakout trade. So I don't, this going long here would be a breakout trade. It's tough. It's pretty de-risked. But just for reference, right? Like, if you could see it up over for like a day. So this is last week we were looking at this. Like, probably not from a breakout trade. Like, for a day, you're probably good. But we were like, okay, there's a lot of overhead supply right in here, which may be a short. And like, you get in there, but then you eventually, like, it ends up being like a big sell. And then you come back, and then you're looking at like a retest here. So now even this doesn't look that great. They're picking at it around 60, but this looks like it's still got to take some time to build a new investor base if this is going to hold.
Okay, can we do Alibaba?
Baba. Dude, is this not the most hilarious? The whole Chinese stock.
Maybe it's time to go long China, bro.
I said that at 80, whatever we were at, higher than here. Like, you can do it, but like 84 is where I said that. Now we are sitting at 82. I still think so. You can.
I just wouldn't want the stress of going long China, so I'm not doing it. But I can see them rebounding this year. I mean,
I still think the lows are kind of in, right? Like, ideally, I think so. I hope so. But this is, like I said before, this one, you got to have a lot of time or a lot of patience, because what you don't want to do is get overly excited, because it'll make you cry.
Dude, but it's the same thing you talked about. Can you trust their numbers also, right? Like, can you really trust everything's accurate?
Yeah.
That's one of the big issues. Okay, can we do TEM? TEM. This is a Kathy stock, AI healthcare play that she's been buying a lot. If anyone's buying this because you see Kathy buying it, I just hope you guys have a thesis.
I think that's a short.
You think it's a short?
The chart looks horrendous.
It
looks really bad.
It was one of the only AI IPOs in 2024.
Okay, so the chart does not look good. Kathy probably has a different time horizon, and unlimited bags to unload. So she may be able
She
to.
sold 140,000 shares of Palantir yesterday to buy this. She's swapping.
I mean, so can you talk to me percentage of her holdings? Like how much percentage of Palantir was that? And then how much did she
Let me just check
increase
how many
this?
shares she has of TEM, because this one she's been buying for a long time. I'll tell you right now, she has of TEM 4
I know
million,
nothing about this company, by the way.
4 million shares, number 13 in the fund, 2.1% of the fund. Palantir is 4.7% of the fund.
So I think she has a lot of room to add still.
Correct. Yeah.
And she'll probably be adding, in the 20s.
Yeah. Okay.
How long is this? This is so usually it's like 6 months. 147 days. So this is about the time when lockups free. Like if you have freezes on IPOs, 6 months, you usually, as weird as it sounds, like on new listings, you usually don't get a good read on price action for 6 months because there's a lot of lockups that happen. And then once that's gone, then you get a better idea of like real market for that. Like ARM is a good example of like 6 months, it went all over the place. But at this point, all the lockups done, right? And so now this is like real price action. All this stuff is super squeezy, a big whoosh to the downside. You never know. And then boom, back up. Astera, same thing. These are not typical, right? Like these are just IPOs that I can think of right now. I don't know if you guys can think of one that's what are they talking about, Fubo? Is it blowing up right now?
No. It's taking a haircut. But it blew up already. So I mean, if you chased it, this is the problem with chasing. But if you were in a year ago, you've done well. You've done very well.
Don't they have something coming up?
I don't know, bro. I don't know why people care about this so much. Like this is
a 10 bagger in 10 years now.
I think people just have been in it for so long and they want to see the story play out. But this is not like Palantir or Hood. This is not exciting. It's a media company. They live sports. I just never understood why it was so exciting.
This is from the guy that doesn't like Netflix either, though, guys. So you never.
Yeah, you got to take it with a grain of salt. I'm not a media company type, even though I run a media company. But like, I don't know. I've never been.
What's the name of the company?
Oh, my actual company is called AK Consulting LLC. But like,
AKA.
Yeah, that's what I should name it.
I like that.
Okay, can we do Apple?
I think Fubo's a buy.
See, you just all right. Well,
Here's why. At 360, so all of this news. So okay, so Fubo here at 360. I don't know why it was here. If we know,
that's a good name, bro. I should have picked that name 5 years ago.
So assuming two things, assuming the Fubo story is the same today that it was in 2023, this is the price that Fubo was here. So if you were to pick up Fubo's shares, you're getting the Hulu situation for free here at 360 because that's where it was before. Now, is Hulu something that the market even wants? I don't know. But if I was a speculative trader, actually, this is where I'd be looking to take a stab here now. Let me just make sure. What I'm looking for right now is to see if this is about 50% of a pullback. It's in what we would call the golden pocket or the golden zone, golden retrace, also lining up to this prior double top. So can you go a little bit lower? Yeah, I can, but that would be to like 324. I don't think you would want this below 3.25. So below 325, I'd say that's your risk. But if you want to take a shot, there you have it. That's my take.
Can we do Apple?
Almost.
Do you think this deserves based on the iPhone headline sales or whatever predictions? That's why it's getting a haircut, right?
I mean, we all got haircuts, but
Oh, hold on.
yeah, there you go.
There you go. I mean, look, I don't like. Is it worth? Is 230 attractive for Apple? 235?
225.
225. Okay.
225, 235. Also, if you're too specific on this stuff, like it's probably okay. You're this big breakout and you're pulling back and you're retesting. So you're looking usually in this area. So this is 230. And like, here's an example. So you're already getting that pulled out of the stock. So I like the stock. I still own the stock. So a little. Maybe I'll load it back up. But 230, forget about 225. 230, I like as a price of interest. Yeah. But I don't have any kind of confirmation. So we got a big pullback into earnings, which is on the 30th. Let's see how this would play out. How would this play out? So it's already got a big pullback into earnings. I think a lot of the froth has come out, although Amit will argue differently.
It's a decent amount of froth that came out, but if you saw the reports I saw yesterday, the December quarter is going to suck for iPhone sales.
That's, I think, what you're thinking, right? Like if the December quarter actually sucks. So Apple is usually a buy 4th of July weekend. I mean, I don't trade off the calendar, but every year it's 4th of July weekend and maybe like late Q1 March. So it's okay here. I think you can get a bounce. But if it gets shellacked, then the danger here is that this is a shellacking area and all of this gets ripped out from underneath it, which means no. Does anyone have a $200 price target?
What did you just discover a technical like downside to Apple
Yeah.
just now?
Yeah.
I love that we're seeing this in real time. We're seeing the Mozart see something in real time. So
this kind of filled already, but it's
I'd buy at 200. I wouldn't hate it at 200.
Shut up.
What?
You swear? You swear?
No, I don't swear, because when it gets to 200, I'm like 190 looks really juicy now, you know?
I will buy at 200.
Dude, the headline was foldable iPads yesterday. What?
Ooh.
What is going on? No, don't ooh. That's not a ooh. That's
A big ooh. I was
that's a
telling you,
ooh.
dude. I think foldable phones, man, that's gonna be a banger. Like
I don't care how much Tim Cook is paying you. This is
foldable iPhones,
you can't
yeah.
die on this hill, not this hill.
Foldable iPads.
Who is buying a foldable iPad, bro? I
Fucking
barely
me,
use this
dog.
iPad.
I'm gonna go buy a foldable iPad.
No,
You don't
you're
want a
not.
foldable?
Even a laptop? Like, come on, bro. A laptop?
Well, first of all, I don't have an iPad. I don't even use iMacs. But I mean, a foldable iPad, bro. I mean, that's not bad.
Okay, so you think it's going to 200?
This is too far away. This is too far away to be like in view. For now, it's this area. So like this is that consolidation. I like it. I own it, right? So it's 225 so 230. So my concern about saying 225 is that it gets to 227 and you're like, nah, I don't want it, right? But I like it there. 225. I like it there. I will continue to hold it and not hedge it as low as 225. How's that? below 225, I might hedge, and then I will load the boat if we see, sub 210. But I don't see that yet. And I'm still like, even if Amit thinks that this December quarter is going to suck, what's going to happen is that they're going to compare it to last December, which I'm pretty sure was even suckier. So it might go up.
I'm just not going to have any anxiety on their earnings because I'm not going to own any of it. So, but you're out. Are you still in this? Like just
Yeah.
stock? But you're out of the calls, right? You sold the calls.
Oh no, dude, I sold the calls.
Of course, you got the top. Of course, you got the tippy top.
No,
Your
no,
paper
so
gains.
I actually sold this top because my calls, bro, 1000% banger. Calls were here for January. This is May, man. The calls were for January two somethings, and I got this whole thing on options, and then I took a little bit here, and then exited somewhere around 250.
That's not bad. It's not bad at all. That's why you've been doing this for 30 years.
So this was like a 6-month option too. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think you're coming back in to test this area, right? So 230, just below 230 if you can, but as close to 230 as possible. That is the area that they were accumulating before. So, I'm of the mindset that, like, if you were going to trim Apple, you did it over 250. And so you aren't really looking to trim anymore, usually. I know there's some short reports out there, but I don't know if that's reason enough to sell Apple.
All right, so like 3 more, and then I'll get you out of here. This 10 minutes turned into 30 minutes, of course. Why not?
I told her.
Don't check the text messages from Wifey.
No, I told her. She knows now.
Dude, I feel like can we just establish you're going to be here like 3 hours on Tuesdays? Because we end up.
I'm telling you, that's what I did.
Okay, so like, because I don't want to keep you away from her. Like I don't want to piss her off. But can we do Reddit, dude? I'm getting more interested in Reddit, and I think 150 is support. But I'm curious what you think here.
150?
155-ish more so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it is, right? So it's this 158-ish so it's this box. Yeah, so you're right on about the 50-day. What I'd say is it's not the strongest support. It's not the strongest support because, like, what happens? What do you do with Reddit below 150? What happens to that? I don't know the fundamental story here. It's another one where I think like the lockup period is completely gone. Like, it's done.
I think the fundamental story is good, bro. They're profitable. They're growing above 30%. They have a data moat. Like the call premiums are ridiculous, bro. People are playing like 8-9% a month and a half out on the covered calls. I mean,
so this is a good stock to do something like that on.
To wheel it, yeah.
Yeah, this setup for sure.
Because you could buy today at 164, sell a call 45 days out for 175. I think you can get $15 a premium, which means your cost basis is 140 theoretically. And if it dips to 140, you buy another 100 shares and average that. Like, but if the support is actually like 120, or if it's supposed to be fair value at 90, then you're screwed, right? Because then you're buying it really high.
Yeah, so it's legit 113. We have stronger because that was that power earnings gap. So earnings, boom, follow through, kabam, they loaded in this area here. These are not strong support levels, but this stock is at a point where like the market is now being established, and I think they're continually buying still. So it may be okay. 137s I think is a little bit better. If I looked at this, and I'll just go post earnings, you're below that larger point of control. And this takes you, if I capture earnings, then you're back to that 113 area. So it's not out of the woods unless you're over 172.
Right.
That's the thing. You're not in an uptrend unless you're over 170s. And underneath that, you're in consolidation that could take you for another price discovery mode somewhere between 113 and 170. So you have to kind of take this one like day by day. But I don't hate it as like if I were to take shots. So clearly somebody's picking it up because you can see like the way that this price action moves in that 155 area. It's like boom, there's a pretty big buyer right here. Somebody is accumulating, right? So I see that. It's just whether or not they continue to do that, and that's right off of this last gap up here. So if that area fails, though, I think you like 152, one more shot, but then below that you're down in the 130s,
right?
Which,
and yeah, Reddit has a negative EPS, but that's trailing 12 months, guys. They just turned profitable last quarter, so they're not really losing money. If you look at it on a yearly basis, yes, quarterly they're up.
Yeah, so it's in consolidation mode. Like the whole market is on the edge of teetering over again. I would just say, and so like these are kind of like shopping list items. So what I'm saying on something like a Reddit, right? Like, or any chart, we're looking at two different prices. So one is the price that the uptrend is reaffirmed, right? And that is over 170. Even though it's cheaper here, it's a safer long higher because that uptrend is reaffirmed. And then in between now and then, you're looking at like, where can I expect prices maybe stop to slow down or potentially consolidate? And then if I get this some news flow happens, do I get an opportunity to buy, right? So like, here's an opportunity. We talked about this. Someone just, Mickey, I'm going to do this. So it's in my zone. So it today, so it was long. I took my longs here. I'm actually looking to add. Is that enough on Reddit?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. So here, down, right? It was below, I think it's in this box. So below 167, but it's down to 160-ish. So I don't think this is bad at all. It just barely tapped it. So I actually bought a little bit, but I'm just barely moving my cost basis up from 140s to I'll be happy to move it up to 160 if I end up accumulating that much. But I think
where is Boeing right now? Is it 167? Okay.
Yeah, which is just today wicked right back into my area of like reload. So where would I look for these prior people to either buy back shares? So anybody that was selling over here sold, I'd be looking for them to start adding back as close to 160 as you can. But this dip below the 200, I mean, I see this coming. So what I'd be looking for is it's lining up to this 50-day, which is rising. But I think this goes into a bit of consolidation like this. I would like to see that kind of trajectory. So that's Boeing. So this is the first day that it's been in an area of like, okay, I'm interested in picking it up again. We outlined this setup probably like 3 or 4 weeks ago after this one on your show.
Yeah.
I think it was.
Yeah. I don't hate it. Especially because I think it is bottoming.
I think it's de-risked. This is not a short term by any means.
Can we do next? Have you heard of this one? This is Chris and Steve both love this thing. They're in it for like a decade. But it's an energy infrastructure play next decade.
What kind of energy?
If I'm not wrong, natural gas.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's, I don't even know if it's worth doing technicals on. Someone asked, but like this is such a long-term thing. Like,
Yeah. So nat gas is doing good. It's more realistic as a data center. Nat gas is realistic data center power potential, way more so than nuclear, to be honest.
so is something like this where objectively you have to have like a decade-long thesis? Does it make sense to do technicals on this? Like realistically, does it make sense to look at it every single
Not-
day?
No,
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
no.
I mean, you
Yeah,
either
you just know, like all I can say is like, you know that like $9-10. Is this a SPAC? I think
Yeah,
this is a SPAC.
I don't
Just-
know, but it's 2021 era, I think.
It looks like a SPAC-ish. You just know that like unless it's over
Yeah,
10,
it's back. It's back. Yeah, it was back.
unless it's over 10, you're not really getting a lot of Momo here.
Yeah. Okay.
I saw a couple of requests for coin.
Yeah, Coinbase.
Interesting for sure. So I sold my coin. This was the trade. This is where I
Oh,
was
at the
buying.
top again.
Not the top, not the tippy top. Probably.
What, 300 you sold it at? 280 around that?
Yeah. Up in here. I don't know what day. Then I'm done shorting it. So I think you're now coming into this consult, like this is a price here, 240. It's not 250, that's for sure.
Well, it relies on Bitcoin,
Tough.
right? That's it.
Well, yes and no. I think they do until they don't, right? Like, and this is one where it's exactly the same. Like it does until it doesn't, and it won't if the valuation doesn't make sense because it's a stock, right? That has earnings. So like at 63 billion, is that legit or not? Now you have to talk about like growth rates and things like that. So it's going to have to grow into its valuation. And that's where I don't really know. Like it's an exchange at the end of the day and a custody company, which by the way, custody is not that big of a deal. It's an interesting level for sure. You have some confluence at the 200 day. If you think that Bitcoin gets the, if you think that Bitcoin gets that inauguration pop, it's probably good. I will say Coinbase loves to move on Fridays. Don't know why, but it makes the majority of its move on Fridays. You just retested a pretty key level. That's 237. So 237 is the volume point of control from that prior consolidation right here. So that's a key. We're going to call that an order block. Key pivot right in there. It's still a little bit higher than 200 day. The only problem with this is that you are still in consolidation mode. And if you do get higher, you have to be very cautious of a higher low. I mean, a lower high, which would show up at 272. So while, yeah, I think you could get a pop potentially into that 270 area, I would let that go right there. So that's more like day trading type setup. Like long term, if I'm long term, I would be more interested closer to 2 or below.
Okay. Can we look at CleanSpark? This one's been a mess, bro.
It's over 10.
This one's been a mess. I'm so happy I got out of this piece of.
Oh, you were in it.
I was in it. I had options.
When the first time that we met and you started asking about Bitcoin miners, were you in them? And I didn't know, and I just shat all over them.
No, I got out of it in January, so it was very early. I made like $1,000. I left. It was 16. I had options for 20. And then I was just like, screw it. Why am I in this? And why am I not more heavy in Robinhood? And it was the best decision ever.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm there's a lot of stuff like that. Again, you're not where you want to press the short bet necessarily. You're right at that 200 week, right at that kind of like area where you would expect it to start bouncing. So I think you could get a little pop, but the thing about this and the rest of the miners is that the pops have been more and more muted every time. So like that's the concern. So the moves to the upside and the squeezes and what have you, they're getting muted, and the lows are getting a little bit deeper, a little bit deeper. So that's what I'm saying. Like you're probably good for another little pop, but unless you get a big time inauguration rally, that pop might take you to about 1350 and you got to get out.
Yeah, I agree. I don't trust them, bro. I don't trust this one. Can we do Rubric?
One that just raised capital because, right?
Yeah, when they raise capital to like, come on, bro. Come on, bro. Rubric. Do you have this one? RBRK?
I don't yet.
But you know about this company a lot.
Oh, I know it. I know it very well. Dude, so I bought
Did
it.
you solve the cube?
No, I bought it. Dude, a fucking loser. I bought it like IPO because I was like, there are two companies in the enterprise that I was like, the easiest sales I ever had, Palo Alto Networks and Rubric. I just take a proof of concept box, deliver it, purchase orders came in. The shit just works, right? Like really good technology, really good company. Just gonna say that I've been working with them since like, look, I was selling their gear when their face plates to the servers were melting off because they were so bleeding edge. That actually happened to one of my customers,
Wow.
dude.
So you've known about them for a very long time.
Yeah, like way pre-IPO. So that said, I know it's a really good company, but the stock was still expensive. I think it remains expensive, but like, I mean, dude, this is a tough one, right? Because it's 12 billion. The PE on here has got to be through the freaking roof. I'm sure they're growing crazy, and I think that they continue to grow this well. So like, if you don't know, Rubric is data protection. So it's different than crowds. Like it's different than Palo Alto. There's all different flavors of security. Data protection is a very specific niche in the area. That's like, if you get hacked and you have the what is it? We're like the ransomware. Rubric basically is the instant restore. That's boom, instantly revert back to whatever you were, and like the way that they handle. I'm not gonna get in the weeds, but this is the best of breed in that scenario. And it's not actually cloud native, but they've rebranded themselves to be cloud native. Like I said, I was selling it when it was a box, not in the cloud. It was a data center piece of gear.
So do you like it at all? I mean, you like it obviously, but do you?
I love the company, dude, but I'm just like, what is the PE here? I just, it's still really expensive.
They're not profitable yet. Yeah.
So they're gonna have to grow into this.
The market cap is 12 billion,
which isn't horrible.
15 price of sales.
So the one downside is that the market, the TAM for data protection is not the same TAM for CrowdStrike or Palo Alto. It's not. It's just not, right? It's a niche product, best of breed by far, but the addressable market is just not, unless they make it that big, which, I mean, if anybody could, it probably would be Rubik. Is there. So like, I think this digests. Next quarter is a show me quarter. If they do it again, which quite frankly, I'm sure they'll beat and raise, but like to the expectation in the market, that's what's TBD. So I think that this one probably is one where it's up for a bit of an earnings run up into, since it's a decent setup if you get the pop. So here's the downtrend in near term consolidation, if you will. You need to see, so it can come down more. I have a hard time when these stocks aren't like that established.
Right.
It could come down more into the 60 range, but if it's outside of this here, you're probably going to see a bounce, and you're probably going to see a pre-earnings run up, because I do expect these guys to beat and raise. I just don't know if it's going to be enough to beat and raise way beyond the whisper number.
Right. Can we do Uber?
Uber. So I have still long Uber. So 65 is okay. It really need to get over here. I think I still think that we're like, yeah, peak bad. I'm gonna hang here, and if it's 64, as long as it's holding 64 decently well, I'm okay. That would be actually, so this is that 64 area here, a little bit of retest. It can come in, honestly, it could get this low, which would suck and might put my option trade back at entry, but it's okay. At this point, it's you've had like from 130 to 250 on the debit spread. And I think earnings are coming sooner than late. Yeah, they're there. So earnings February 5th. I think if you get a little bit of a pre-earnings pop, here's that 64 right there. It could run up, and I think it could run up into 70 potentially ahead of earnings, as long as the market's okay with CPI. But I think you got to trim there for sure if it's anywhere close to 70 ahead of earnings, and then let your runner.
Why earnings? Why would earnings be bad for Uber?
No, because I think the setup is that it could, if it gets an earnings pop, the setup into earnings might be a little bit over.
But isn't it so depressed already?
Not anymore. At 60, it's 5% higher than when it was, and the market's lower.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, last one, PayPal.
Dude, what did this one have news today? Because it was like, whoop. I was like, what?
No, they got an upgrade by Citibank. Yeah.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you got to let it breathe a little bit. This is like, you could go a little bit higher. $90 still going to be that major area. You just got at 80, right? Like, again, if TJ was wheeling these $80 puts, oh, money, right? But then he's probably selling some $90 calls at the same time. So I think you're in the box.
I actually like PayPal. I think it's safe over the next 2 years. Like, I don't feel like it's scary.
You mean like de-risked?
Yeah, de-risk is better. I mean, it's not the deal that it was at 50, but they're buying back still $5 billion worth of the stock.
Mm-hmm.
They're not declining in earnings growth. They're going to do 8% a year. But
like you could do the same thing to Square, right? Isn't Square's growth even bigger?
Yeah, but Square doesn't handle the level of transaction volumes that PayPal does. Cash App is
true.
The most exciting part. Yes. And I also like Alex Chris more than Jack Dorsey any day of the week, to be honest. Like any day of the week.
Even though he's a nonprofit guy.
What do you mean nonprofit? He worked at Intuit. What are you talking about?
But he came from, this last job was a nonprofit, wasn't it?
Oh, he was VP of something at Intuit, I think. He probably did a nonprofit in the past, but I don't know. I trust PayPal over Square. Square probably outperforms, but I sleep better at night with PayPal. PayPal's on every e-commerce website on the planet. Like it's not I know it's a dinosaur, but no one's beating PayPal. I mean, maybe people can compete with PayPal, but it's not dying. That was the narrative at 50.
You don't think Zelle's beating PayPal?
But Zelle, I mean, yes, but not international. Like I can't Zelle someone in Italy, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like the run happened from 40, but I don't think PayPal has to go back to 65 or anything, even if it only goes to 90 in the next year or next year and a half.
No, it would be like 130s.
Dude, do you think PayPal gets to 130 before Square? They're basically at the same price, right? What do you guys think in the chat? Does PayPal get to 130 before Square? They're both at $80 right now, 85, whatever.
That's a
I kind of want to say Square because like logically it should be Square, but I think it might be PayPal.
no.
But I want to say Square. My head says Square over PayPal. Because Square hasn't run already. PayPal's almost doubled already.
And Square's the laggard though, right? So it might be PayPal because it's usually Square's like usually catch up.
Yeah, but if Bitcoin goes to 150, it's gonna be Square, 100%, right?
I mean, it's the most underrated crypto play.
Dude, if Bitcoin goes to 50,
It doesn't.
HUD,
The thing is,
Robin
the thing is, I don't think it depends on what Bitcoin does because, dude, Square gets no credit for their Bitcoin holdings, like no credit
I agree.
until it's like, oh, all of a sudden it's getting credit. I don't know.
If Bitcoin moons, HUD is gonna have, dude, they're closing Bitstamp. Like this is gonna be wild.
You guys didn't tell me my fire was the wrong color. Trying to.
Oh, is that a real fire?
Oh yeah, for sure. I have.
Can you give us a little tour?
I need the logs from the other room.
Can you show us the office? Because does the camera move a little bit? Can we see
It does a little bit. I mean, that's one side. I mean, this is just one. I can join mobile and I can walk out the door and you'll see like we have a little basketball hoops, foosball tables, and whatever.
So hold on, you're like renting this part of the building, basically, right?
No, yeah, sure, renting. It's a strip mall.
Oh yeah.
That there are like 5 businesses here. Boom, boom, boom. And I was in the middle building, and then we're like, no, we want to expand one of the other ones. So now I had to move down.
But who's we? How many people are you working with?
It's like me and my partner, and he's got like 50 employees for I'm more than that for like the other companies. So like Paper Gains just gets to use like all the back end. So like website, sometimes graphics, finance, whatever, website people, all that stuff.
Gotcha.
It depends on what's going on. Sometimes he'll ramp up for certain things. Like one of the companies was a vape company, dude, like e-cigarettes, but like that's really hard. And it was like a multi-million-dollar company, but we live in California. It's really not. It's not the business here. I think it's actually like illegal now. So it's like spin that down. Yeah, and that had at one point there was a lot of oh, here's one. I don't even do these things, but like it's how do I push the button? These things? Oh, you want to know the name of these?
What's the name?
Push the button. Focus. Lucid.
Luigio?
Lucid, dude. Like the car? Lucid.
Huh.
It was named after the car. That was the brand.
Lucid Vapes.
I have to fix this.
Yeah, I've never done a vape in my life before. Never did.
Don't. You're not missing anything.
What? No, why are you guys making fun of me? I thought it looked like Luigio. What the fuck? I can't say anything right, bro. I can't say. I don't know how I talk for a living. I can't speak. Like I don't know how.
These things are too hardcore. Like I just pick one up, is laying on the, and like I take it, like I hack out a lung. I'm like, holy shit, what are these guys
Wait,
doing?
so hold on. You're in California, so it's 4 o'clock for you right now. So when do you go home usually? Well, not on Tuesdays. When do you actually?
Dude, I'm on like 12. Dude, what's funny is like I went to go work in enterprise. I'm thinking, oh, it's 9 to 5. Bullshit. That's not a 9 to 5. It's like you're literally a lifestyle trade. Now I'm only working 12-hour days most of the time because I'm up at 6 and I'm actually not up. I'm like in front of the desk sometime between 6 and 6:30, which is kind of hard. And then I'll be done with streams or what have you, as long as we're not running mastermind stuff. Although we're prepping for mastermind stuff now. So it's like, that's just as much work. So it's still on the 12-hour days.
So when do you go home?
Usually around this time.
4 p.m.
Usually.
Okay. So it's not too crazy.
So like 6 to 5.
5 to 6 my time. Oh,
6 a.m. Pacific to 5 p.m. Pacific.
Got you. That's a long day. And you go to 6 a.m. in this studio, or you drive to the studio in the morning? Or you're at home?
Yeah, because I could actually, like today I started at home and I worked at home till like 11 and then I came over here. But like it's hard if I had this at the house,
So you wouldn't get work done. You would get nothing done.
No, yeah. So that's
Wait,
actually
does your wife work, or
oh, what's
she's
up, Ava? Ava in the house, huh?
Does your wife work? I'm assuming she doesn't work. She keeps she takes care of the kid.
She has a job because she actually works and we use the insurance actually.
Okay.
So she works to pay for the insurance, which is weird because like they're like you don't have to work 30 hours, but then you do, but then you work from home. But anyways, because we had the covered California stuff, which wasn't horrible. But yeah.
So how do you feel about short-term gains being?
What are they talking about? Elon getting sued by the SEC.
Yeah, we talked about it already. Elon, they're suing him for some securities fraud. He didn't disclose the price of Twitter when he bought it. Yada yada. That's stupid.
Oh, okay.
It's dumb. So you've been paying short-term ordinary gains on your tax for a while because everything you do is short-term. You trade an option like within minutes.
The trust does. So I trade in a trust. And then from the trust, I'll pay myself if I choose to pay like a management fee.
Got you.
Does that make sense?
Got you. Yeah, this is the first year I'm paying like real money on short-term capital gains, and it sucks because like
you have to plan.
Yeah, I have to get ready to like my accountant was like, yeah, you better have this by April.
Yeah, no, honestly, dude, like the idea of doing this way was that I want to make as little on paper as humanly possible.
Correct.
Like the exposure, no, thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well,
just don't pay it.
Dude, Spencer's wild, bro. She hasn't paid her taxes for like, she's like, I just didn't pay it. I'm like, eventually you're gonna have to pay it. Bro.
No,
like,
I mean, okay, so I'll tell you this. In the corporate world, it sucks because like after a certain level, you have to make like $500,000 incremental more for it to actually make a dent in your income. It's wild. Because you go like 50+% net tax, gross tax in California.
100%. Yep.
So like, and then there was this one year where I went to Vegas and I won a bunch of money and I had like $400-something thousand in this it's called W2Gs. I don't know. That's gambling. The G is for gambling. So I won a bunch of money in Vegas and they hit me on it. It's like,
hold on. They tax your wins in Vegas?
Bro.
There's no way. I thought
bro, stop it. You've never won money in Vegas.
Hold on. So if you win $1 million in a night playing poker, you have to pay taxes on that.
Poker, I think, is different. I won a bunch of money on slot machines.
I did not know this, bro. I thought that's free money. I thought you would like.
No, it's not free money, dude. You get this thing called. You ever see when they do like hand pay, and it's like you have to get somebody comes over and they pay you out by hand. You can have them take out taxes. Nobody does that. Usually what you do is you get a little player's card for the casino and you make copies and you give them to all your friends and say, lose a bunch of money on my player's card so I can show the losses and offset it. But
bro,
it didn't.
I did not know this. So
bro,
5,000 or more means you have a W2.
That's federal. It's 2,000. It's 1,200 or more. They'll give you one.
Bro, do we just tax every fucking thing in the United
States? And
States?
it's not, yeah. And I got, so anyways, the story goes, I thought I had enough to offset it. But then every year, the freaking feds were coming after me. It was like, I would get a letter in the mail like every week or so. I paid them like $300-something thousand in taxes that year, working as a W-2 employee, not doing this stuff. And then, and then literally it was like every week I would get another bill for another $10,000-$15,000. I'm like, and they're like, oh, we missed this. I'm like, what the f is going on? And that's when I was like, I don't want to make money anymore. I was like, I don't want to have a job. And this is how it started, dude. This is how it all started. I was like, I do not want to make any more money.
Well, this is the beauty of America. If you start a business, you have write-offs. Yeah, you have more responsibility, but if you're W2,
you can decide what you want to pay yourself, and that's why I was like, okay, this is how it's going to go down, because I live in California. It's going to go down like this,
dude. I've never made
Yeah,
more
so
than-
that's what so bullish is talking about, like what I just mentioned earlier, is you get the little club card for each casino and you make a bunch of copies, give them to all your friends, make sure they stick them in the machines, because at the end of the year you can pull from the casino a statement of it's a win-loss statement, and you can
you have a P&L from
you
Vegas.
have to do
is
that. If
insane.
you ever get a W2G, you have to go get a club card, because you need to be able to have some kind of losses to offset it, and that's the only way that they track it. Because if you don't use those little casino cards, just saying, you can't prove it that you lost any money.
Dude, I've never made more than a couple $100 at Vegas, maybe $200 I made. So it's like, but I wanted to go to Vegas in the summer and like take 10 grand and, you know, see if I, you know, just mess around with it.
Oh,
But
dude,
now
yeah,
I'm like,
I'll show you.
wow, you have to pay
Like,
taxes.
dude, no, it's good. Look, if you can offset it, that's fine. I just happen to, for whatever reason, my tax person didn't put all the statements in right about the offsettings. So I just happened to get absolutely run over that year, and they kept coming after me forever.
I swear I did not know Vegas tax. I didn't know what a WG2. I didn't
W2G.
W2G. I did not know this was a thing, bro. I really thought if you go to Vegas, you make a lot of money. Like you got lucky. Great. You beat the house. Like you get to keep the money. Like
No, it's income. It's income, brother.
and what is taxed as short term? Same.
It's
ordinary?
like, yeah, it's regular income. It's straight up income. Now you know. Today I learned that I can't go to Vegas and make a bunch of money for free.
No, you can't. Like literally, you can't. I guess you can't.
Yep.
I really didn't know that.
That's right. If you go play on the table, though, I think the table games are a little bit different. It's this thing, because like I would play the slots. I swear to God, there's a system.
There's not a system of slots, bro. You got
Swear
lucky.
to God, dude. How do I make $400,000 in a year?
Goodness, dude.
I'm just saying, you go to like the areas where like all the Asians are, they're super crowded, and like you wait and you just walk the casino floor. You'll see where they like they kind of bulk up in their little clicks, and you can see it moving from section to section to section. And then you just hover and you hover and you
It's a good. No, you're a good strategy. Did you ever play poker for a living? Would you ever do that?
I did play poker, tournament poker, not for a living. I was good. I think it was good. Played a lot of tournament poker, which is I think part of how I got to where I am, because it got me into thinking about statistics and odds a lot too, right? So like
that's why I want to get into it this year. Honestly, I think it teaches you how to better understand the world of investing to an extent.
Yeah, I mean, at least risk.
Yes.
Understand the world of risk, right? So
100%
risk management, know what your risk is, that kind of stuff. I would agree in that sense. Then you'll know what it feels like to be on tilt, like how to not deal with that.
How to keep a poker face, how to weather the storm. I mean, I think there's life lessons there. I think, definitely investing lessons.
Yeah, you could play tournament poker. That'll teach you, because then you'll know. And it just play Hold'em, right? And then you'll have to learn the game. You learn the odds. Eventually, you can go. I'll take you. If we go, then I'll take you to craps. I'll show you how to play craps with odds.
Dude, I the whole table's playing with each other, kind of in craps, right?
No,
like you want the other side to do kind of well, right? That's
yeah, but like you're playing odds. But yeah,
I have no idea how to play that.
Always bet the odds in craps. Anyways.
All right. That's it. Thank you, Jason. Follow me on Twitter.
Done. That's it.
We're done, dude. Yeah, we're done. Like we've been,
okay.
Well,
I'm working on so this right here, dark spot, is supposed to be the sign, the neon sign. I broke it.
How'd you break it?
I dropped it. I dropped it.
Damn.
I dropped it. So we'll have a new one coming. I got the cool fireplace. The squeak.
The squeak's good. You solved it. Yeah, you solved it.
The squeak is good. We after I took the noise gate off, then we don't have the back and forth up down.
You don't need noise gate anymore. It's perfect, dude. It was perfect. Once you fix the noise gate, I don't even hear any hissing at all.
I'm happy then. I'm happy. We're set. That the day is complete.
We're good to go.
Green fire. Do we need the green fire? Damn it. Green fire, baby.
That is pretty cool, dude. That is pretty. That's pretty freaking cool.
All right, guys.
All
I
right.
appreciate you all. We'll see you on the next one. Trade safe, guys.
There's Jason's Twitter. Bye, everyone. See you,
Adios.
Jason.
Later.
All right, guys. I'm out. We streamed 3.5 hours in the morning, 3.5 hours in the evening. I love doing it, grinding every single day. Tuesdays tend to be longer, but if Tuesdays are like, I don't want to rush through the tickers. If Jason's good to stay 3.5 hours every Tuesday, then we'll just stay, because I think we got through pretty much every ticker. Like, maybe we missed a couple, but we got through pretty much all of them. So yeah, every Tuesday, I guess you can just expect us to stay here a lot longer and get through all of them. All right, fun stuff. Now, tomorrow is not going to be an easy day either. 8:20, I'll be live, earnings. So all the banks, all the important banks tomorrow. Goldman Sachs, BlackRock, JP Morgan, Citi, Wells Fargo, big banks we got to look at. CPI, 2.9 is the expectation. So the banks plus CPI is going to make tomorrow morning very important. And then we'll see how the market reacts to that. Yeah, TJ will be back on Friday. TJ will be back on Friday. So he'll be coming on Friday, probably like at 10:30, around about that time. Stay for like 10 more minutes so I can finish my dinner. It is kind of weird, right? Like, because everyone watches something when they eat food, and it's like some people might watch this show when they eat food as well. And I watch other streamers, and I actually do watch streamers, bro. And I watch other finance streamers like Josh Brown and the Compound and Friends. Like, it's just a whole community of people that just like consume this content and hopefully get value from it. I've never met Jason. I almost met Jason, bro. I was in California a couple months ago, and we were trying to do dinner, but I had a really jam-packed schedule. He was with the kid, so we were trying to get it done, but we just couldn't get it. But I'm going to be in California again pretty soon. I have to get my ticket soon for the Bay Area. I was looking at prices last night, and I think I can get it for like $400, so it's not too bad. There might be a very important interview happening in the Bay Area the week I come to California. So I might end up going a little early to do that interview. That would be in person, not guaranteeing it's going to happen, but if it does happen, that'd be awesome. And I think that'll be the first big interview of the year. That's 4 weeks away. Yeah, so California meetup definitely happening from the 10th to the 17th. For that week, there'll be like 2 or 3 days on that week. Ticket for what? Like the flight ticket. Yeah, plane. See, there you go. You can't make fun of me with that hey thing that I messed up. Dude, someone on Twitter, they said hey. We were talking about where you're flying in and out of, and they said hey, H-E-Y. And I was like, what airport is hey? The fuck? And then they were like, no, I was saying hey. I was like, oh, I'm an idiot. I'm absolutely an idiot. So I'm dumb. But yeah, also let me post this in the chat right here. So the Telegram group, I've already created it. Some of you guys might have got an invite, some of you have not. I'm going to post a link right here. If you are coming to the New York City meetup, which is happening this Saturday, 12 p.m., and I'll send the location in the Telegram group. You can join this group. If you're not coming, then don't join, because you probably don't care. But this is the link. And it should work. There it is in the chat. If you have Telegram, it'll sign you up immediately. And it's to a channel called MIT NYC Meetup. The only caveat here is that if the weather is that bad, which I think it'll be okay, but if the weather is really that bad, we'll delay it till next week. It'll be gloomy, but it won't be freezing cold. It'll be like 50 degrees, which is actually relatively decent for New York, to be honest. But if it's snowing, then it's annoying, and then I'll just delay it. So, yeah, Saturday it says 20% chance of snow. So we'll see. If it's really bad Saturday morning, we'll change this to next week. If not, then yeah, Saturday we'll be there. It is, yeah, the Telegram group is not a scam. It's I know it sounds like one, but this is the thing I like about Telegram is that you can just send a message and people don't have to respond. So it's like a broadcast channel. I know WhatsApp has it, but WhatsApp doesn't have as smooth of an interface as Telegram does to like actually make it. So yeah, that's why I like the Telegram version of it. All right, that is it. Yeah, California meetup again still happening in February. We'll get dates on that pretty soon. New York this weekend. I have my gifts. I ordered my gifts already. So whoever shows up, you're gonna get a small gift. But I hope we can do it this week. If not, maybe it works out for people if we do it next week. If we don't do it this week, so maybe it's okay. But it really just depends on the weather, because I'm free the next 2 Saturdays as well. So we just got to see if we can plan it out. All right, that's it. Thank you, everybody. Have a good one. Daily Palantir episode, if you haven't got enough of me today, is coming out in 15 minutes. So this is the grind, dude. This is the content creation grind. We're just like, this is what you do. You make it and you keep making it and you keep building. So that'll be out. In the video, I basically talked about, can Palantir get to 40% growth in 2025? So I wrote up a thread a couple of weeks ago and I put that into a video now. So it's a 20-minute video kind of going more in depth on growth expectations for Palantir. All right. Bye, everybody. Love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow, 8:20 a.m. Eastern on the market open. Very busy day with banks and CPI. I'll see you guys. Have a good one.